today we are going to dissect exactly what is going on with Nintendo, with all of these announcements that usually come as part of the February Direct getting trickled out. Something suspicious is in the air, don't you think?
There was something fishy happening last week where they went on this flurry of announcements over 24 hours. Very unlike them. Some of it pretty interesting, big-ish news.
Yes.
And we are getting to be that time. We're on Direct Watch now. There is this great streak that people are talking about of the February Direct.
Right.
The chain shall not be broken, but I think it's worth a closer look this year because this is a different kind of year.
Something is happening, and we're going to figure out what it is in just a few minutes. We have some other cool videos on the channel now. You have continued your soul healing journey towards
my rehabilitation.
Yes, exactly. Towards becoming a more understanding Sonic. I'm not going to say fan.
No, it's not that.
Just a more open-minded person as it relates to Sonic. And you have discovered something quite extraordinary that I was very surprised by.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Sonic, which is well documented, but I am a lover of video game history.
Aha.
So, I had heard these stories of hey, the development of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is pretty interesting, and did you know it actually was made in the US and not in Japan, and Yuji Naka and others came over to kind of knock it out, and gosh, that's really unusual and really interesting. So over the years, I have in chunks kind of read about that, and a few weeks ago, I was like, where was this place? Where exactly was this? Because Sega's headquarters was on the West Coast. It was in San Francisco for a long time. So I was like, maybe it was close by. And the addresses are available on the internet. There's some great Sega kind of retro-oriented sites out there, and they just had it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is about 10-minute drive away from where I grew up.
Right.
So that was a mind-blowing moment. So we had to go and check this place out.
We had to go check it out. We had to go absorb the Sonic 2 vibes.
Yes.
And we also wanted to share with you guys the really interesting history, like you said, about what was going on in those days and this very unique mix of American and Japanese developers coming together to make this game. It was, of course, fraught with so much drama and so much ridiculous hard times, but it all happened in our backyard basically, which was kind of crazy to think about. So that's what we did.
Yes, so we did a little vlog where we went to check it out. We actually got inside the building. We did get a couple dirty looks from some people. The cops were not called, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But it was, I definitely felt some things visiting there. We left a little memento because I feel strongly there should be a statue or a plaque on this building to commemorate the history that happened there.
That's true, because that is a significant place of video game history.
Yes.
So we did a good video game karma deed, and we left something lovely on the premises to commemorate that Sonic 2 was developed there. Yeah, it was really fun.
This is like the Sonic Week DLC is what I like to call it for people who were with us last year for Sonic Week. We got the free DLC
Not
there.
paid.
Bonus video. I did DM Katie over at Sega this morning
did?
when the video came out. And I just said, hey, look at this. I want to get a pat on the head.
Oh, Katie's sweet. Katie has been instrumental in your rehabilitation.
I haven't heard back. But it was only an hour ago, so
maybe
there's still time.
Can check.
Yes.
She wouldn't. She's so nice. She would at least give you a little.
I hope so. You did it. Way to go.
Wow. Other big video on the channel right now.
Big news for us.
Big news for this here thing that we do. We made a video on all the big, cool updates that we have coming for 2024, which we're very excited about. We had a great year last year.
Sure
it's
did.
Just amazing, and you guys are just continuing to support us, and we're ever so grateful, and we're just wanting to do even more and, have more fun in 2024. So we made a big video sharing with you all of the new content that we're going to be creating, what's happening with our Patreon, and then a little surprise at the end as well. So
Yes, there's a lot of updates in there. It's a pretty big video, but recommend you all check it out. But if you're just wondering, like, well, what are kind of the things that are happening? There are some pretty cool things happening with our Patreon.
Yeah.
Which, again, check it out. Patreon.com/KitandKrysta. I'd say there's kind of like three takeaways. We do have a new show that we are starting, a new podcast, the Kit and Krysta Spoiler Cast.
So excited about this.
This is going to be a once a month thing because it's going to be a big, in-depth, no holds barred. Nothing is off limits. Obviously, it's a spoiler cast on a big game that we've both been playing. It's going to start in February, late in the month. It's going to be for Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
Yes.
Which we'll be talking about later here in the games we're playing.
Yeah.
But this is something you've wanted to do for a while. We did an experiment of it last year with Tears of the Kingdom. Went really well, and I think was fun to have no restrictions of talking about a game once we had wrapped it up and really wanted to get all of our thoughts out there. And this is going to be another big year, so I think these are going to be really fun additions to the conversations we have in this podcast.
Yeah, this podcast was pretty careful about, keeping it...
Well, one of us is.
Well, I try, but some things that I think people consider spoilers are not really spoilers, and that's just on you. Anyways, but yeah, I think this is going to be really fun for us to kind of do this with the bigger games that we're playing, that our community is also playing, so that there's just this like forum for us to talk about everything, and you just want to release some of that stuff, with these big games that we've been playing. So I think having that is going to be really, really cool. We're excited about this. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive in our notification squad tier, which is a $10 tier.
Right.
And again, these are going to be monthly. So we're really excited to bring that and bring even more exclusive content to our wonderful Patreon community, because those are the people that are literally keeping the show going.
Right.
So, yes.
One other thing we're doing is that we are moving up the perk of getting early access to Super Kit and Krysta 64 to the $5 tier. That was previously in the $10 tier. We're like, it might be a little bit confusing if you want to get in on early access to have those spread across different tiers. So it's like, now it's like the $5 tier is all early access.
Yeah.
$10 tier is all about exclusive content, and it gets more exclusive the further you go. So hopefully that's just a bit more of a clear delineation of what each thing gets you.
Exactly.
And we are adding an entirely new tier.
I'm really excited about this.
That is the most exclusive tier of all, because it's limited to a single person.
Yes, it can only be one.
It's called the Final Boss, who will become our boss.
Yes.
And there's a lot of stuff that comes with this tier. And that's why there can only be one.
There can only be one person.
And the special thing for us is we're gonna be putting a picture of that person right up on our set.
Yeah,
or a picture of their choosing.
Yeah,
right.
It's gonna be here in the background for all to see, because that will be the final
boss. So you may be seeing this as soon as next week.
Yeah.
Because these tiers are live as of February 1st.
Yeah.
So
can't wait to find out who my new boss is gonna be. So excited.
So again, there's so much more in that video. There's updates on our Japan trip. There's updates on some cool merch that we're doing.
Yes, exactly.
Even more Patreon stuff. So definitely check it out. And thank you to all of our current Patreon subscribers. We did such a big questionnaire at the end of the year to like really get at the heart of like, what do you want? Like, what are we doing good? What are we not doing good?
Yeah.
And we spent days going through that and like analyzing it. So we that's always the goal, is get a little bit closer to what makes everybody as happy as possible.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
We're trying to do it.
Yes.
Cool.
We truly are. Okay. So this episode, we are shuffling up our usual flow of things because the big topic about Nintendo Direct and what Nintendo did last week is sort of news oriented. So we're going to start with the news, and then we're going to get into some other stuff. We're doing a Palworld ripoff tier list, which is really fun. Wow is all I can say as I did some. I mean, I've been playing the game.
Yes, me too.
But
seeing it side by side,
double
like
wow,
that is quite. It's quite interesting.
Right.
So we're going to be doing a really fun.
Also. Before we get into that, I got to shout out our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Notion. Thank you, Notion. Notion is a great tool for productivity, whether you're an individual, whether you're a small business, whether you're a big business. You are the
organization queen.
Organization queen.
Oh, yeah.
So this is very much up your alley.
It is. I need to keep our small business going. We have so much going on. Not only are we managing how we do our content every week, but we also have the consulting side of our business.
That's
so there's
right.
just always a lot of things happening, and there's the two of us trying to keep it all going. So having Notion to really help us organize our thoughts, taking our meeting notes and transforming them into very easy to read documents and summaries, and lots of little things like that has really helped us a lot.
Yes, the thing that I love the most about Notion is that it's all in one place.
Yes.
There are other solutions that we have used where it's like, okay, I did a thing, why don't you go check it out? And it's like, is it in this place, is it in that place, or is it in the other place? And that's not being organized and productive if I don't even know where the thing is or what type of file it is.
Exactly.
So that is what I love the most about Notion. It's all in one. There's no confusion. You get down to business like a snap.
Yeah. There's also the Notion AI assistant that's just fully integrated in, and it can help you with a lot of tasks and making some of those more tedious tasks that you do throughout your workday a lot faster and easier. So you can release your brain to think about the bigger things and the bigger creative ideas. Just have the AI assistant do the menial stuff.
Yeah. Like I was saying, Notion is used by over half of Fortune 500 companies, but it's great if you're a small business like us, or even just a regular old person.
Yeah, just want to organize your schedule and life.
Right.
This works really well for that as well.
That is very important too. So try Notion for free when you go to notion.com/KitandKrysta. That's all lowercase letters. Notion.com/KitandKrysta to try the powerful, easy to use Notion AI assistant today. And when you use our link, you are supporting our show. Notion.com/KitandKrysta.
We'll put the link right over here and also in the description below.
All right.
Okay, into this monster news section. News section.
Be sure to put the little news jingle here. Don't forget.
Yes, I will put it in.
So we want to talk about what happened with Nintendo last week and what that might mean for a February Nintendo Direct, since that is right around the corner, the normal time that would happen. And people are starting to get the feeling, the itch.
Yes, we're on Direct Watch, I think, officially begins now.
Sony is doing a state of play this week, so it is a good time. People are agreeing to make some announcements.
Yes.
And I always like it when this happens. People come out with the receipts.
Yes.
And say, well, if you want to say there won't be one, you are going against history. Because look at this, 4 out of 5 years, and we have the dates right here, there has been a Direct in February, and the exception was in 2020, and 2020 was a crazy year.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what...
We were there that year.
Right, I can't remember exactly what the thing was.
There was something that was happening in February. There was like a lot of Animal Crossing stuff happening that year. We had a really big event that was supposed to happen that didn't. I'm just like racking my brain. But I remember there was some weird scheduling issues that made it so we couldn't do the Direct at the normal time, and then the pandemic literally happened, and then it just pushed everything out.
And maybe we can debunk something that I see people like putting out there of like,
okay, do it.
There's nothing like Nintendo's not like, well, it's February, we got to do this no matter what.
Right.
Like it is kind of. It does depend on, do we have the news? Does the timing for that line up with everything? Like nothing is that set in stone,
It's true. Nintendo is never the type to, make any sort of announcement because they've done so in the past at the same time, or because other people are making announcements.
Right.
They're very much like, we're doing our own thing. We're going to make the announcement when it's the right time for us. And they're not precious about these dates, really, and they will change it if something else is happening. But I think on the flip side of that, just looking at the historical receipts, as we said, 2021, February 17th, 2022, February 9th, 2023, last year, February 8th. There is a significance to the February timing because it's a month before the end of Nintendo's fiscal year. This is the time where they do sort of like timing-wise, it's good for them to get out any of those announcements.
There's always a lot of games to get out before the end of the fiscal year.
Exactly. So they want to tell you that information, so you can know it, and then they're done with sort of that round of news before the end of the March fiscal year. And then in the summertime, they move on to that next wave of announcements. So timing-wise, that's why they've done it in February in the past, because it does work well with their like fiscal schedule. But again, they're not precious about it. So if something else takes the place of it, or they want to shift it to a later date, like they're going to be fine doing that.
Maybe one other thing to debunk with that is like, I do sometimes see people saying like, well, you know, with the end of the fiscal year and the start of the new one, they like to appease the they like to appease the investors. And like, yeah, I think when we left, Nintendo was maybe a bit more focused on investors than they were in the Iwata days, but they don't really think about it as much this way.
Not as much as like a tech company at all. They're very different than that.
It's a very like long-term view, and you know, these are consumer-facing. There were times where Nintendo
was very
used to make announcements in shareholder meetings,
right?
Which
was weird.
I don't understand the reasoning for that.
A lot of companies do that,
and we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
But I think with
now it's more consumer
products that are
based.
as like fan-focused as Nintendo's, that just doesn't make sense. So. Yes, there's a lot of proof here, but again, I wouldn't say it's like ironclad that it has to happen.
Right. Exactly. So it could change, and I think we have some reasonings or predictions of what could be causing this to happen. So we'll get into that, and then and kind of share with you what we were thinking they might be doing instead of Direct.
But they really went on a run January 23rd and 24th of last week. Of just one announcement after the other, which felt very out of character to us.
Right.
So let's just run through what everything was. They announced these pink Joy-Con for Princess Peach Showtime. That's coming out on March 22nd. What do you think of these?
They're fine.
Okay.
It's cute.
That's the most lukewarm cute I've ever heard.
I mean, I'm not going to get them.
It's cute.
It's fine. It's not my favorate shade of pink, is mine.
Then we got this other short video for Princess Peach Showtime as well, debuting 2 of the new transformations, Ninja Peach and Cowgirl Peach. So that's 2 pretty substantial updates on this game right there, which is one of the bigger ones for what's left in the fiscal year.
Right.
And that's definitely that little video is definitely something that you could see right in a Nintendo Direct. And then, oh, by the way, we got these cool Joy-Con. Check them out.
Right, exactly.
Like that felt very much like Direct content right there. Then we got, on the 24th, they were talking about the launch date for Splatoon 3 Side Order, which is the bigger sort of DLC offering for that.
Yeah.
That's also big news. That's coming pretty soon, in the next month or so. And
that also felt like very direct.
Like
direct-worthy content. Especially, I was looking at the last Direct, which was the September one. They opened the Direct with Splatoon Side Order. So this is an important game, obviously, to Nintendo.
Yeah. There was a little video that was paired with this. And these were all shared on Twitter, by the way. That little video that they had was very light on new information and new content. There was kind of like nothing
and
beyond the date the date itself, which was I think also a noteworthy thing.
Yeah.
Then we heard about these 2 concerts that are happening kind of back to back. So there's the Zelda Orchestra concert, which is happening on the 9th of February. That's right in that Direct second week of February window that people keep pointing out.
Yes.
Visit our YouTube channel to watch the full pre-recorded performance. Okay, at 5 a.m.
Direct timing.
I will not be up at 5 a.m.
No.
Sorry. Then the Splatoon channel shared that the Splatoon 3 Deep Cut concert, which had been scheduled for Nintendo Live, this is the event that was canceled.
Right.
That's going to happen on February 10th, the very next
day. Next day.
That will also be posted on the YouTube channel so you can watch it. So interesting that they called out this specifically as previously being part of Nintendo Live,
but did not
did not for the Zelda concert. Now, the Nintendo Live in Seattle, that had a lot of Zelda content, and they had something like this.
And Mario, but no Splatoon.
No.
So, I mean, Japan is a Splatoon
Splatoon first market.
first
Yes.
market, so I can see why they would call that out. And that Splatoon concert has been at Nintendo Live in years past
Yeah.
as a big draw.
That's also much more complicated and frankly pricey to pull off
Yeah.
than some people with instruments. Like you need
like projection,
holographic
holograms.
projections and stuff like that.
It's quite intense.
It's a whole to do.
Yeah.
Then, which it just keeps going.
It keeps getting weirder. Yeah.
They shared that there are new modes coming to F-Zero 99, secret tracks and private lobbies. Those are available now.
Yeah.
So obviously they wanted to get those out then, but if there was some direct, you could say, well, why not hold it for another week or 10 days?
And then shadow drop that.
I mean, that's cool. Like, this is cool news. People like this.
And this was, again, a thing that was announced previously in a direct.
Right.
Yeah, so that they know that there's a good reception to it.
Right. We also got this news about new Smash Ultimate Spirits.
I would just like to point out that the Smash stuff comes out like a week after Sakurai says he's going to shut down his channel as well. So
I don't read as much into this one.
I really think that
this feels like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I didn't get into the whole spirit thing that big, but I was like, oh, whatever. This is
this is that thing
a little
where
bit
you're
more
like
of a throwaway. It's like, yeah, it's the game's still around.
That's what it is. They want you to remind you of that game being still around for some reason later. That's why. And he shut down his channel. Come on now, guys.
All right.
It's very suspicious.
Also, for funsies, Doug Bowser's in Kyoto.
And the head of marketing is also in Kyoto.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
the new head of marketing.
Those people do go fairly regularly to Japan for meetings or whatnot, but there could potentially be some bigger thing that they're working towards or planning towards or talking about.
Could be the last meeting before the big announcement.
Right. Certainly could be.
The timing is perfect.
Hashtag tranquility. Yes.
Hashtag tranquility.
We should all
Snow
hope to
falling
we
in
should all
Kyoto.
hope to achieve that. Wonderful.
Beautiful. What a beautiful scene.
So that is a heck of a lot for one day. At Nintendo, all on Twitter, all pretty substantial pieces of news. This kind of thing was what we sought to avoid when we worked in the communications team. Like, this is the opposite of a best practice.
Yeah, this is like what not to do.
Right, you want to spread this news out a little bit more.
Right. Unless you want to combine it together in a format like a direct to make a big impact. If you just have these little bits
One-offs.
and pieces, first of all, you don't want them to cannibalize each other. You don't want to share so much news within a very short time span so that your audience doesn't know which one to pick and get
People get a
excited
short
about.
attention span when there's as much. It's like they just forget about the last thing and say,
forget
oh, there's a
about
new
the
thing.
last thing.
Cool.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So like we would often have conversations where we would look at the calendar of like,
You're like,
okay,
no, we need to
there's
spread
actually
this
too
out.
much happening on this day. Let's spread it out. What can be
Yes.
moved? What can be shifted out?
Yeah.
Or even like within a day, like let's do something early in the day, do something much later to
Later
give
in the
people time to
afternoon,
really
yeah.
absorb it and understand it.
Right.
So clearly that did not happen here in any way, shape, or form.
No. And I also noted that the timing of all of these directs were sort of the global timing, which was evening or late afternoon US time. And that means it was like sort of early morning Japan time and like reasonable for Europe, which always gets the worst time. Sorry, Europe. But these were meant to be global announcements.
Right?
So, shared in the same way across all of the regions as would a Nintendo Direct. So that was very notable as well.
So what's your hot theory for what's going on here?
My hot theory is that they might be holding that timing in February for a bigger announcement. I don't know what else they would, share in a Direct. I guess that we're missing. What are we missing? We're missing the launch date.
Yeah, what could they still presumably talk about?
For Paper Mario, which is a game that does not have launch timing.
Luigi's Mansion, you could give some
Luigi's
sort of an update on
Mansion.
that. It's like almost right around the time that Mario versus Donkey Kong will be coming out.
Yes, so they could do like a little. It's out now.
But I feel like they've talked about almost everything.
Right, they shared like a
in that.
6-minute trailer for it.
Right.
Very
So
recently.
I don't think there's much more there.
Yeah.
There could be some
could be new stuff.
some other surprise games. There's third-party games. There's like Unicorn Overlord stuff. That's coming out relatively soon.
They could do a third-party showcase though instead. if that was the case, because they've already kind of talked about most of their first-party stuff, except for those two things that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Unless there's a brand new announcement or a brand new series of announcements on Switch software that they did not talk about last year in September and didn't say like the 2024 timing without a launch date, and then they're just gonna like talk about brand new stuff. Like that's very possible.
Right. So that's your feeling.
I feel it feels really it's feeling very strange to me right now.
So no traditional direct in February.
Yeah.
But maybe the Switch 2 announcement is in February. Is what you're feeling?
Maybe the Switch 2 announcement is in I don't know. I was thinking March, but like early March.
Yeah.
So I could be a little off here. There could be like a mini. Maybe there's a third-party showcase, like I said, like something like that to sort of tie the bows, tie the loose ends, as people are saying. Like they are sort of in this position right now of tying up a lot of these loose ends to like clear the deck, right? They might need this month to do that.
Right.
And this is part of the loose end tying in a kind of messy, weird way. But there's something weird that doesn't feel like, that points me to believe that there's not maybe a big, huge, traditional, like full-on February direct.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I also like March as a potential announcement for Switch 2. Mm-hmm. I think there's still more to say about the current Switch library, and I do still think there might be a couple other games, not crazy huge things, but things that they'll want to talk about and get people to pay attention to.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of it being a smaller direct with a mini level of content, but not branded mini. I think calling it a mini will be a signal to people of like, well, wrap up the Switch. This is the last.
That's true.
The last, so it will be.
I mean, like, so what? Like everyone knows it already. So what's,
they don't want to communicate.
Why
that
are
yet.
you like tiptoeing?
Because they don't want to.
So obvious.
They do not want to communicate that yet. They want people to still be buying games on that, to be in on that while they wait. Yeah, so
they do
like 20, let's say roughly 25 minutes.
Roughly 25 minutes.
And they're going to pad that out with all sorts of things, but it'll be called a normal direct, and it'll be in this February.
But it's just going to be light on announcements.
It'll be very light.
Is your thinking?
It'll be super soft.
Yeah.
Okay. As for what happened on the 23rd and the 24th, so the thing is, like, yes, it's all bunched up. There was no reason, though, that they couldn't have done it, like, 2 days later or today. Mm-hmm. Like, the direct is not today. It's like, oh my gosh, we have to get this out before this thing happens. Like, it didn't happen yet.
Yeah.
So I think this is just like a mistake, like somebody just goofed, and there is a combination of like global announcements. This Nintendo Live stuff is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think this is just like an anomaly of like somebody messed up and didn't like
messed up the calendar.
There was like bad communication on the calendar, or it was like, oh my gosh, yes, it's bad timing, but we have to do it this day.
Once you kind of set the global announcement too, it's kind of hard to roll back.
It's hard to move it.
It's hard to roll back because now you don't want people to, one region to accidentally go out and then you like basically like leaked it.
Right.
For everybody else, know?
So
it is hard to roll back.
So I think this was just more of a flub than anything. I am puzzled, though, about, again, like this Princess Peach little trailer. Like, that could have been a really nice thing.
In a direct.
In this, potentially very soft direct coming up.
I know.
So,
unless maybe they have like more little outfits
unless there's more to say about this game.
Maybe there's more little outfits.
Maybe
that they'll announce in the little mini direct or whatever.
Little outfits in the little mini.
The little pink mini direct. So cute. Maybe there's another couple of different transformations.
Mr. Takahashi's gonna come out wearing the Princess Peach dress and crown and everything.
He's gonna be a cowgirl. Oh, I love that.
No, I said a dress.
I love that
not
for
a cowgirl outfit.
I love that.
That's not what I said.
He could totally show up.
So, and I do think, again, the wording threw me off, but I do imagine this Zelda concert was, again, originally for Nintendo Live.
I think so. I think the concerts were because of Nintendo
The 5 a.m.
Live.
time obviously is not favoring this market, which is the #1 Zelda market. So I think it's more. I think that's probably like a late, like an evening for Japan, which is a nice time to do that.
Right.
So.
And it was for an event that was supposed to happen in Japan, so they're probably thinking that way.
Right. So let's give this to them first, but we might as well make it available for everyone.
But it's like pre-recorded, so who cares? Like you can watch it whenever. It doesn't really matter.
But I mean, when this was announced, like that's when there was also that other rumor that got supposedly debunked by the other leaker, Puro. about how like, oh, there's going to be remakes for the Oracle games, and then people's like, well, that would be a nice thing to announce in this. So
No.
this again,
they're not going to
the direct zone will make your mind do
some weird
interesting
stuff.
things.
But let's be reasonable, though.
Jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
I'm being very reasonable. I'm saying I think
reasonable.
this was just a mistake. Wouldn't have happened on our watch, but this was a mistake. And it just made for a strange day that had too much stuff. Yeah. And I think it's too soon to announce Switch 2, but we're not far. So we'll have a little tiny little baby direct that they'll try and pretend is bigger than it is.
They should just call it Nintendo Direct Baby. Nintendo Direct Junior.
Nintendo Direct is just baby.
Nintendo Direct
Junior.
is just baby. It's like Nickelodeon Junior, Nick Junior.
Slap a diaper on this direct.
Oh, Diaper Toe Direct. Perfect. Bring that back.
Oh no.
Can we talk about
Have that
later?
guy from Polygon host it. Today all my dreams are coming true.
I'm in an adult diaper. It's great.
We are not achieving hashtag tranquility.
We're not.
If that happens.
We're hashtag chaos right now.
Any other theories you want to put out in the world over this?
I still stick to my original timing around the Switch 2 announcement of deck clearing in February and then some sort of announcement in March.
I agree.
I just feel
think
like
that makes more sense.
But I do feel like whether or not this was a mistake or just a little bit of an oversight in terms of looking at a calendar, there is this mentality right now inside Nintendo where they're like, we got to get this stuff done and out there so that we can shift our focus.
Yes.
They love to say that. Shift our focus to launching this next console.
Correct.
So I get the sense that maybe this little, scheduling mishap or whatever you want to call it is a result of that kind of thinking that's very prevalent throughout the company now. It's everyone is their brains are tie up these loose ends, shut this down so we can move on to the next thing. That is how they train you to think there. So I just feel like that is what is happening, and everything that we're seeing now is exactly that. Everyone's just thinking we gotta get this all tidily wrapped up, and then we can take a deep breath and get excited and move on to the next thing.
Right.
And it's gonna be great. So yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking is just the underlining people's mindset as they go through this next month.
Good, we figured it out. On to the games that matter, aka Palworld.
Wait.
What?
We have to do the poll, though.
Oh, yes. Yes, I told you to remind me of this.
I did.
And thank you, you did. So we asked our Patreon subscribers in a poll what they thought was going to happen in February. And there were 4 options. 30% of people said it is 100% going to happen. 62% of people said it probably will happen, but I won't be shocked if it doesn't. 6% of people said it probably won't happen, but I won't be shocked if it does. And then
these are confusing.
2% said, then you do the poll next time. 2% said it's 100% not going to happen.
It's a reading comprehension.
I was a little bit surprised at how overwhelming the it probably will happen.
It probably will happen.
That's 92% people thought, in some shape or form, it probably will happen. That's a bit higher than I thought, but again,
this is what happens when you start to look at the historical dates.
I put myself in that second category of it probably will, but I wouldn't be shocked if it didn't. That's
okay, I'm definitely not the first one.
Yeah, I thought I wouldn't be shocked if it does, but probably not. I thought that
that's
one might
probably
be.
Me.
I thought that might be a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's me. I think that's.
But that was very insightful.
Okay.
Tuscoop says, without a shadow of a doubt, the second full week of February. I love when Nintendo is consistent about their announcements. It always feels like something to look forward to, guaranteed.
Well, Nintendo doesn't care that you love that.
Boom! The definitive word from Tuscoop.
Nintendo is very much let's try to make it surprising for them. So
Callie says, with the recent trailers for Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Splatoon 3 Side Order, and Princess Peach Showtime, we are running out of content that could be shown in a February Direct, and I don't think there will be enough new content before the Switch 2 comes out to justify a Direct without revealing the new console. I think Nintendo would want to wait until at least March to reveal the Switch 2 to not interfere with the build-up for their February releases. Very good, Callie. Very close
You've been paying attention.
What we were thinking as well. Yes. Heart Nintendo says, since Nintendo's fiscal year ends in March, this will happen so they can preview/announce things for the next fiscal year. This gives their shareholders context for the financial outlook of FY24.
Yeah, could happen.
Zvibo finally says, I think it will happen, but will be focused entirely on games for the original Switch for 2024 and will mostly be a bit of a hodgepodge of things that Nintendo has been keeping for a rainy day.
That's what you think.
I like that
You
as
like
well.
the soft direct.
Right. Back to Palworld.
Back to the most important thing of all.
We have more Palworld in the games we're playing, but
Yes.
we have to talk about the Pokemon Company putting out the statement. So what's happened in the world of Palworld since we had this last podcast? The game has continued to sell great.
Yes, people seem to still be playing, even though there's other big games that have come out.
Maybe
like
a bit of a tailing off, but
a little tailing off,
that's
but
natural.
yeah.
The Pokemon mod got ninja'd.
Yes. Obviously.
What else? There have been, again, continued to be all sorts of theories, and I appreciate the people, like MinMax had an actual lawyer come on and talk about, like, what is the actual,
IP
like, that,
infringement?
that's valuable and that's important because
Yeah.
we're certainly not lawyers.
No
we're
one's
just two dopes with a podcast. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
one of the bigger things was Pokemon Company putting out this statement,
Right.
which I will just read. And it is entitled, Inquiries Regarding Other Companies' Games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024.
We shall not name it. It's like Voldemort.
Prince of Persia, what? We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game.
Oh.
We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon
I love this part.
and its world, and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. Signed, the Pokemon Company.
I love how
Yours
we
truly.
Cherish and nurture.
Every Pokemon.
Let's cherish and nurture you with a cease and desist. Oh man, this is great. I love the statement so much because it is very much sort of like we are very upset right
So
now.
passive-aggressive.
We're passive aggressively pissed off, and we're going to write the statement. We're not even going to name the game. We're just going to be like real cagey and weird about it, and then we're going to make like veiled threats. But it kind of points to some of the stuff that we talked about in our little
I felt very validated with
like,
what we said in that video, which was that they were caught off guard.
Exactly.
They needed time to have the internal discussions and answer all the questions, and they're getting bombarded by questions.
That's the thing.
Clearly, of like,
many inquiries.
What do you think of this? What are you doing about this? Are you going to do anything? From people outside, from people do not underestimate the power of the inside questioning.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, see, that's not something that people forget. I think that if you're not on the inside, is like when you think about it, you think, okay, only the media, or like you're looking at social media and people's like ridiculous conversations. That's not the thing that actually matters more. It's like all of the different executives that are like freaking out internally, asking.
Like, what if I sent Doug Bowser like a sternly worded email of like, how did this happen on your watch? And obviously, Doug Bowser has nothing to do with this, but like in a situation
it's
like
pressure.
that,
It's
like that is pressure that he would feel.
Right.
Like that's not nothing, no matter who you are.
Yes.
Like and like these are people like in your company. It's like, oh, we gotta keep people on the same page here. We gotta address this. We gotta do something.
And there could be other like high executives,
right,
that are giving you this pressure. So it's not just like random.
Or they could be disagreeing. And you have, it's like
you need to get on
we have to come to some sort of consensus on what to do.
Yeah, and that's a tough situation to be in.
Very hard.
And not only are you working with both, people internally at Nintendo, you're also working with people internally at the Pokemon Company. And we talked to this a little bit as well. Like bridging the gap between the two companies is very challenging, even in the best of times. TBH. So. There were some dicey moments.
Right.
So, I mean, this is going to be like all-time, like, awkward meeting time. So, So that's why I think the statement exists, because it's such a, like, we are very mad and we're going to passively aggressively, like, come up with this thing that's just kind of ridiculous.
So I continue to think that they're not going to do anything with Palworld, especially now that the game is out.
Right.
Their chance was before it came out, honestly. It's just too hard to unwind that now. But I think an underrated part of this that I don't see too many people saying is you need to make it clear that that was not okay. And if it happens again, like, we're going to be all over it.
Then, like, the full force of
don't,
the law.
Like, don't have every, like, oh, so we can just rip off Pokemon now? Yeah, let's do that. Like, you need to send a message like, nope. somehow this one slipped through, you better believe the other ones won't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Shady game developers of the world.
This is like that, like, fool me once, shame on me.
Exactly.
Fool me twice.
Right.
Yeah.
You cannot have this become this huge copycat trend where just people just stealing your designs and stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I think so. I think whatever they're doing from a legal perspective will be really focused on that, sort of like the not taking down this thing currently, but more so like what are we doing for the future so that, one, we don't allow this to happen again, and two, people are, scared, frankly, to have something like this again because we will sue them.
Right.
And really take them down. So yeah. Anyways, we continue to play Palworld and are quite enjoying it.
But the world of Palworld continues to be hilarious. We love it.
Yes.
Boy, the news section really delivered this week. Next.
I love this photo.
Mr. Aonuma was spotted at Super Nintendo World.
Look at this cute little hard hat.
And the path to this was quite interesting. So Universal Studios posted a video for... what is Epic Universe? Do you know what that is?
No, I'm not.
So something pertaining to Universal Studios. They posted this video that included some behind-the-scenes footage of stuff getting made, and an intrepid viewer. Somebody spotted, Gartooth spotted this in our Discord before it became a thing.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, can somebody give me a reality check on what I'm seeing here?
Yeah, he's like, is this like an Oasis situation? I'm like seeing like a mirage?
Right, and he was like, here's the frame, and it's like, yeah, that's him. That's Aonuma, and that's Miyamoto. It's got the most interesting looks on their faces.
They look stunned. Maybe they're like, this is beautiful, wow, They look like little Gorons, like with the little hard hats on. Yeah. It's so cute.
And this guy, I can't get a good enough look at his face, but I'm like, who is that?
Oh, oh my gosh.
Can you tell? I can't, it's too unclear who that could be. But I really wanted to know like, who else was in this entourage, because it's certainly not just the two of them. You know him, great.
But I don't know what his name is right now.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta think about this.
So what does this mean? Is this just a random coincidence? Was he on a field trip to see, what daddy bring your kid to work day for Miyamoto? Like, look at the cool stuff I'm doing here.
There's gotta be something.
And when would this have happened also? So when would these two have potentially been out together? Is my other question.
So Miyamoto came for
Aonuma came for the Game Awards, but Miyamoto did not.
Yep.
Unless he met him there afterwards.
Afterwards, which is weird. Aonuma was also in New York for the Tears of the Kingdom launch, which was in May.
Right, so that was a while ago. This is Florida. So, but I have to imagine... I feel like Miyamoto's making pretty frequent trips out.
Donkey Kong World is going to open soon.
So who knows? I mean, it could have just been one of those random trips. He's like, yeah, come with me, or it would have made sense to tack it on.
If maybe he was around there in May, and then he went then.
Yeah, that could make sense.
Because he was in New York in May, so he might have gone down to Florida after that. Because Miyamoto was here in March. We saw him in March last year. And that would have been around that Mario movie opening. Right. But I think you're right. I think it's probably more so his, like, he was going and maybe Aonuma came down to see something.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta think, like, they have to be thinking about this, And I do think that there is this sort of like success formula that they've created now where they launched the Mario movie and Super Nintendo World in the same year. Both things became this huge hit. They really delivered on their company, the one very important pillar of the Nintendo business, which is expanding the audience, get people into the Nintendo universe through not just video games. And then they did that very well with the Mario movie and the Universal, Super Nintendo World. So he's got to be thinking about doing the same thing when the Zelda movie comes out. That sort of repeating that formula and having that be anchored in that Zelda movie, hitting a new audience and then having this potential theme park expansion. I think they've got to be thinking about that.
Yeah, Nintendo is not the type of company to just send him off to see a thing for no reason if he did not have I don't think it's like a smoking gun that yes, the Zelda world is coming, but it could just be like, hey, like here's where it potentially could go, and here we're pitching you on this big idea.
Right.
So it may be potentially further out, but
yeah, that movie is going to be like 5 years out.
That movie's
minimum.
quite far out.
So they could be thinking about like in 5 years plus.
Right. It does.
What could this look like?
I mean, these things take forever to build, to make, and get ready. So I do think that it does indicate that there is some conversation about this that has happened.
Yeah. You know what's really funny is the background of these look like Triforces.
Oh, you're right.
Isn't that weird?
Wow.
Ooh.
Huh.
Anyways, the conspiracy theories continue in this podcast. It's not
This is hilarious.
This is not conspiracy
This was in a video that Universal put out.
Can you imagine how mad Nintendo was? Like, they took it down, obviously, but it was like obviously too late, you know?
Amazing.
So funny.
All right.
You can't make this stuff up, honestly.
Next, we cannot stop. Bloomberg has put out a report saying that the Switch 2 will be out this year with an 8-inch LCD screen. I think they sourced this from a Japanese analyst, but
it's like
Bloomberg has quite a history with Nintendo in terms of rumors and whether those are sourced appropriately or not. Obviously, they were the ones who were so heavy on the Switch Pro, which ended up being a fat L for them. But this is a very notable and reputable news outlet to report on this, and the point about the LCD, I think, is something that we've talked about previously, where it's not what people want. Obviously, you have an OLED in the Switch now, but it is a way to save money.
It is.
And with a console launch, they have a number in mind that they cannot go over.
It's $399.
It's like your budget when you go to Vegas. It's like, I'm not going over this number. Sometimes you go over that number.
Go over that number.
You're like, forget the number.
I'm like, what was the number again?
Nintendo,
I'm like at the craps table.
They are sticking to that number. So if that means doing something like an LCD screen, like I think they do that because it's like, hey, we'll say the Switch 2 OLED in 2 to 3 years, and you're gonna love it. It's gonna look great.
Yeah, that could happen. It's a larger screen. There's a lot of comparisons around like how much bigger it is.
It's kind of significantly bigger.
You think that the numbers are? It is.
It's like, how do you make the room for that and not make this thing ginormous?
I know. I'm scared for my baby hands.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a problem with it.
Yeah, at first I was like, oh, cool, the screen will be a little bit bigger. And then I was like, maybe that's too big.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need it to be that big.
Right. I mean, the screen I don't find right now to be that small even. I mean, the one that I
think it's fine now, but yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, maybe it's one of those things where if you see it, you'll be like, oh, how did I ever
live without this?
Live with this before.
That's true. It was like when we went from 3DS to DSXL.
That was really amazing.
Like a mind
that was really amazing.
Like, my eyes. Wow.
I can see it now.
I could see things.
Yeah.
The other thing that was in the story that I thought was interesting was the same analyst said that they had ordered like 12 million of these or something like that, as, you know, an encouraging thing for it to be like, this will be available, people can buy it, hopefully we'll combat some of the scalper stuff. We continue to be nervous about it, but that's a significant amount at least.
Yeah.
You don't feel
maybe? No, I just feel like there's no, I have such a gloom and doom feel about the launch of just like, it's going to be a disaster, and no matter how many they make, it's going to be tight, so.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're making like 4, so that's
good. But this, I mean, all of the content of this report seems reasonable to me.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% reasonable. But I was a little disappointed because, you know, I'm a Switch handheld player mostly, and I was a little bit sad that it won't be the OLED because that is really a really beautiful display. But a lot of people have said, like, there's so many things you can do. I don't know the technical stuff at all, but so many of my friends that are very tech savvy have said there's a lot of things you can do with LCD to make it look as good, like as good as an OLED. Like, you won't get, like, the inkiness of an OLED, but you still get, like, you know, you still get almost all the way there. I mean,
I can see that.
The system will be, like, an OLED screen is backlit inherently, so that can cause it to just feel a little bit, like, different, but you can get most of the way there with an LCD, so I don't know. Who knows? We'll see.
Lastly, is this our last story?
This is a sad story.
I think it's frozen. I think it's yours. Big round of Xbox layoffs last week. which over 1,900 jobs were cut across Xbox, Bethesda, Activision, Blizzard, and King.
Yeah.
And done in a really seemingly disorganized way where the news hit before people knew their status, and it was just a real rough day for a lot of people finding out, or having that survivor's guilt, which is definitely a thing where people you know and like and worked with are let go, but you get to stay. And it's just, every week there's at least one of these stories. As we're recording this today, there was the Embracer, did their thing, and they laid off a bunch more people.
Yeah, it's not even the end of January yet, and like every week has been some, ridiculous story about layoffs, and yeah, it's just such an unfortunate thing to see, and it's hard to like grapple with why, because a lot of these companies are profitable. They're making money.
This one hurts because I think there was hope that Xbox could buck the trend of these acquisitions where they drop the, quote, redundant people.
Right.
And if there was ever any company to financially be able to live with it, or find ways to reshuffle the organization to find new roles for these people, and maybe take a bit of a financial hit while that happened, it's them. Like now Microsoft is like back to being neck and neck with Apple of like the biggest and most financially successful company in the world. So it's not like oh my gosh, we're going to go out of business if we can't do this.
Right, exactly.
And
yet they still had to.
Right. It also hurts because Phil Spencer's had a very for the people, we love our fans, we love our developers, we love everybody kind of message, and this is very much in the face of that. And this, the ink is barely dry
on the
acquisition. Yeah. So I wonder, did they even think about scenarios to make this work, or was this just always the plan? Of we're going to cut it by X percent once this happens. We're going to have everybody send in their lists of who they want to keep and who they want to let go, because that's how it goes.
That feels.
It's
icky. So
soon.
It feels so icky.
That's where my mind went. Was they didn't even give this a fair shake. This was always the plan.
Yeah, or maybe they didn't try some of the other methods where you find other roles for people within the company.
If developers are redundant, maybe make a new studio out of those people. They're all very talented and can do a lot of things.
Right.
With this many people, are I just can't believe that they couldn't have found roles,
a solution and a role
in a group this big now that has this many needs and needs this much support. They couldn't have found a way to make that work.
Yeah,
I just don't get it.
And they have such a huge year this year with so many, supposedly so many games coming out. I'm just shocked that they would need to reduce. You know.
And obviously you had the billions of dollars to do the acquisition in the first place, so
that doesn't feel good. Yeah.
I don't know.
This is totally that thing that we were talking about last year with layoffs, where one person did it, and now it's becoming, unfortunately, very weirdly acceptable.
But now we're a year plus into this whole just snowball effect.
Yeah, but it's the more it happens, the more people are oh, another layoff.
Right. And
you start to get desensitized to it, and you shouldn't, because it's terrible, and there's got to be a better solution out there,
right? And of course, every time this happens, if it's a public company, the stock goes up. So they're getting rewarded in a sense for doing these things.
Exactly.
So yeah, this one stung a little bit more than some of the others because of the position that Xbox is in and the message that they have been trying to put out there.
Right.
So it felt
very opposite.
It felt like that messaging had been disingenuous, and it was well, this is how we really operate.
Exactly.
So
that's really unfortunate.
Right. Yeah. So
I feel for people. That must be such a just stressful.
Look forward to next week's layoff news in the next podcast.
No, I don't like it. Poor thing.
All right, I'm gonna let you pick what we do next. Would you rather do our story time?
Would I rather?
Or our Never a Minute segment?
Oh boy.
What would you like to do next?
Let's do our Never a Minute segment first, because I'm just excited to look at these pictures.
So look at this. Look at some pretty pictures. So this is the Palworld Pokemon ripoff tier list. Welcome everybody. we are going to be ranking the most egregious design ripoffs in Palworld as they relate to Pokemon. Like a proper tier list, we've got about like a dozen or so comparisons. We're going to do the ranking S, A, B, C. Maybe we just go S through D.
Yeah, S through D is
so
good.
S means it's like
the most egregious.
You're going to jail. You rip this off so hardcore, you're going to jail. Yeah. And D is like, maybe this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let it say.
Or you tried a little bit harder to make it not a ripoff.
Right, you tried a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, going through this was such a I can't believe this moment for me.
Yeah.
Because again, we've been playing this game, but seeing so many of them side by and some of these were like, I'm not far enough in the game to have seen all of these.
Right.
I was like, it just keeps going.
Yeah. Some of these are when you see them compared like this, it truly is like a little bit mind blowing.
Okay. Let's start with a pal that you see very early on in the game. This is Pokemon Wooloo versus Lamball.
Lamball, in this picture, Lamball has the gun, machine gun.
The giant machine gun, which I like.
Which is incredible. Looking very tough, while Wooloo is looking innocent as a lamb.
Thoughts on this?
I mean, it is one of those things that's like, well, it's a lamb.
Yeah.
Which is something you find in the real world. Although they're very similar, I think because it could just be like, this is just a lamb. Maybe an A.
Oh, an A.
It's pretty identical. But my point is that it's not an S because you.
No, I would say this is lower than an A.
Oh,
because,
really?
I mean, I don't think the Pokemon design is that unique either.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's just kind of a fluffy.
It's a fluffy.
It's
lamb.
a fluffy thing, and that's another fluffy thing. It's not like some of these other ones where it's like, oh, we created this unique creature.
Okay.
So I would say that's
Like
maybe
a B?
like a B or even a C.
Let's go B.
Fine, we'll go B. Are we going to get anything lower than a B? I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree. I think like because it's just like something you find in the real world, it's like we're both drawing lambs, you know?
Right. There's nothing that crazily stands out to me with Wooloo other than it's like it's a round sheep thing.
It has a ponytail, like a hair thing.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
Our next one though.
Oh boy, this one.
Fan favorite Lucario versus Anubis. And I have seen Anubis in statue form. You can put up those statues of Anubis in Palworld. I've not seen proper Anubis. This is either an S or an A.
This has got to be real high because this is one where it's like it is a very unique design. It's like this sort of, the way that it stands and the way that it moves.
The same expression on its face.
The expression, even the colorway is very similar.
Yeah.
It's got to be an S, I think.
Yeah. I'm down with that.
Oh my gosh, poor Lucario.
Lucario.
Anubis is very like.
I mean, this is just
Egyptian.
This is like the palette swap Lucario. Is all it is.
What they were going for in Palworld with Anubis is like the Egyptian god, right?
That's what they want you to think with the name.
They want you to think that. But also with the little collar that they put on that looks very Egyptian.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's pretty egregious.
It's not enough.
Okay.
Next, we have Galarian Meowth, not just regular Meowth, mind you, versus Grintail.
Oh my God.
So the eyes and the teeth.
Very Cheshire cat.
Basically exact. Even like, look at those little ovals in the eye. Exactly the same. Everything else, though, it is a cat, but it's a different kind of cat.
It has the color of original Meowth, though, which is kind of funny, right? Isn't original Meowth like a beigey gray color like that?
Which one are you looking at now? That's the Pokemon.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's on 4 legs versus 2.
Yeah.
It's got different kinds of ears. It's got this weird tail that kind of splits in half. Mm-hmm. I mean, the eyes and the mouth are really bad, but everything else
is not that bad.
It could be worse.
The eyes and the mouth, they could both be both Palworld and Pokemon could be copying from the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
So is this a B?
Maybe a C.
C. Okay. Yeah. Yes, I'm glad we have a C.
I think this is not
because it's only going to get worse.
Okay. This one.
Okay. Next, we have
this one though
versus Robin Quill. Somebody's going to jail for this. That's all I have to say. Somebody's going straight to jail. Look at this. Come on.
This is so bad. Okay, the colors are exactly the same. They have Bows and arrows.
Bows and arrows. The name Robin Quill is a indicator of a bow and arrow.
Yes. A bird with a bow and arrow. And decidui is also an indication of a bird with a bow and arrow.
Oh my God.
This cannot happen.
This kind of pattern that's on this wing is on the back of its head.
Yeah.
They're both wearing the cape that's the exact same color.
Right.
The kind of bigger
head-
feet,
the
the head
shape.
Yes. Come on.
Even the way that they're holding the bow. Come on.
Come
Oh, I see.
on.
This is the wing is part of the bow. I get
Oh,
it.
sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Come on. S. That's an S.
Okay, but this one though.
Next. Maybe another S. Pokemon Xerneas versus, I don't know how you say this one. Eichthirdeer?
Eichthirdeer?
I don't know.
Oh.
The name doesn't matter because it's
You see this PAL pretty early on as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Xerneas is like a legendary Pokemon,
Right.
so you don't see, it's
Yeah.
hard to come by. But yeah, it's pretty similar.
I mean, this was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh,
Oh, it's
there's Xerneas out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is, I think it's, the kind of colored horn business.
Yeah.
But
But then again, this is like the lamb ball situation, the Wooloo situation, where it's just the deer with antlers.
I mean, there is more unique stuff like this kind of like tuft that's sticking out of the neck.
Okay.
The kind of like sword colors on the legs.
Yeah. I
I
would
mean,
say
from the head down,
it doesn't look that
it's
similar.
not that similar.
Right.
But
and again, you can argue that it's just all of them are just exaggerated deers.
It is also very big, though.
Yes.
Like bigger than a normal deer would be, which is like along the lines of a legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, it is very big.
I'm gonna say A, because I think there's
I think B.
Oh, a B. Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think again, when it's just like
This
a
is-
real animal.
This is one where the more you look at it, it's like, maybe there's fewer similarities than I
Yeah.
thought. Next, though, Cobalion versus Fanglope. I mean, this is a high tier. This is a high level S.
I mean,
This is
yeah,
theft.
this is an S. It's beyond the facial expressions. Everything else about this is like pretty one-to-one.
Yeah.
Colors, this little cloudy, hairy,
Right.
furry tuft.
The like white stuff on the feet.
Yep. The antlers.
The texture on the antlers is the same. The
The
expression.
little gray kind of thing in the middle of the antlers.
Yeah.
The little gray nose.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
You thought you could get away with this?
Make it red. Why not just make it red? I don't know.
Next up, Superior versus Azarobe. So a big difference here is the coloring, and the Azarobe seems to have some sort of a like hat type
Yeah.
thing on it. But beyond that,
The shape, though, and then the design.
it's just
and like,
the face, the expression.
face.
That's a snivy Superior evolution.
and
face.
even like the flow of the collar,
and the direction
the
of the
direction
snake
of
tail.
its snake tail. Yeah.
This is A.
I think this is an A.
Yeah.
Don't let the colorway fool you.
No.
Because it's the same thing. No.
Oops. This is Scorpion and Sub-Zero and old Mortal Kombat.
Oh my
They just
gosh.
changed the colors.
They just changed the color. Yeah.
Speaking of,
Okay, this one.
Verdash versus Cinderace.
One of my starters, my Score Bunny, has been ripped off into this
Man,
thing, this other little thing.
this is bad. This is real bad.
Oh boy. Yeah.
This is just a palette swap.
This is a palette
This
swap.
is a pure palette
Yeah.
swap.
The feet. When you look at the feet,
Yeah,
it's got the bunny
big
feet, the bunny ears.
the different colored tuft in the middle of the head, the ears, the little
Yeah.
outfit,
The little arms too.
the kind of
Yeah, they're wearing like the little pants, like the little pedal pusher
Right.
like pants.
the emphasis on like being fast and like energetic. Like
yeah,
that's all just-
Verdash and Cinderace.
Yeah,
One is green plus a fast thing, and one is
yeah.
fire plus. Are you kidding me?
Is this an S or an A?
This is an A.
This is an A. Okay.
Gosh, Verdash.
Next,
Oh, this one.
Eevee versus, is it Cremus? I don't know.
Primus.
So I think actually the Eevee that this is closest to is the, what do they call it? The big one, the big Eevee. What's it called?
The Mega Evolution, Gigantic.
Whatever.
Yes.
Gigantamax.
Gigantamax.
Whatever that is, yes.
Gigamax?
Gigamax? Whatever they call that.
Gigamax.
Whatever they call that, I don't know. but
I mean, the face is
the face
exactly
is
the
just
same.
lifted off. I mean, maybe remember there's the Pokemon Alcremie. Maybe that's what they were trying to do, where it's like in like whipped cream.
It's like a cloudy.
It's
like
cloudy. It's in whipped cream.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, size-wise, this looks to be about the size of an Eevee. Like you get these
the ears. The ears are
very similar.
It doesn't have the little fox tail.
No.
An Eevee is basically like a fox, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they lifted Eevee from a fox. So this is one of those situations where, like, okay, but it looks like a real animal.
Yeah.
B.
Yeah, I think it's a B.
B.
So next is an interesting one because now we're mashing up even more than just Pokemon. So Pokemon Electabuzz and Grisbolt plus Totoro is what we have here. Yes, Totoro. It's a Totoro face.
It's a Totoro face and ears.
Right.
But
the markings of Electabuzz, kind of the body proportions of an Electabuzz.
Exactly. All the powers.
Obviously,
yeah.
yes.
Oh man, this is pretty bad.
So this is like a double mashup of ripping off.
Yeah, I think it's an S. I mean, this is ridiculous.
An S of Totoro and Electabuzz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is. You can silhouette Totoro over.
If we had a Totoro image
Grisbolt. Again, the naming too. The naming is very bad. It's very copycat.
Yeah. Okay.
This one is not okay.
This one is like S plus. Grookey
this
versus
cannot
Pansy.
happen.
I don't know what to say. The color's the same.
The face.
It's the same thing.
Everything is the same. S plus.
S plus.
I will say that Tansy is very is very useful in the base. I have many Tansies.
Oh, really?
They can do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So yes. So it's very cute and very useful.
Oh my gosh, this next one.
Oh, the Gyarados.
Gyarados versus Yormantide. So I think the name for this, they're pulling off of the world serpent, Jorgenmonder. Yeah, from Norse mythology, but that's not the only thing they ripped off.
But
it's a Gyarados.
Well, a Gyarados is just a dragon.
No.
Yes.
No, I mean look at the shape of this thing. Look at the big head, the segmented body.
But again, that's not as egregious as Grookey versus Tansy, though. Gyarados, again, is just like a typical dragon.
Fine, A.
B.
B?
B. We have to be...
The colors? Look at the colors.
Fine, A. Fine,
it's gotta be.
Fine. But you know what I'm saying, right? It's like everyone can draw a dragon, and it just looks like a Gyarados.
I think Gyarados has, I mean, it's not like a Wooloo, this is not an animal that exists in real life.
But it's an animal that's not an animal, it's a creature that's very, like, prevalent in all cultures, mythologies, and fairy tales. Like, everybody has a dragon. Like, you look at Breath of the Wild, like, the blue dragon in Breath of the Wild, it kind of looks like a Gyarados, too. So,
we'll keep it at A.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a dragon.
All right, last one. Latios versus Jetragon.
No. Don't make it mechanical and tell us it's different.
It's the same thing.
That's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Oh
yeah,
my god.
It's the same thing. I mean, I don't.
So what is different? So this one actually does not have wings. It's got this little contraption. Mm-hmm. The tail is a little bit different.
Sure.
But the shape of the head and
the face, the eyes,
the eye, yes.
Yeah, all of it is the same.
It's an S. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So how many S's do we have? One, two,
oh my God, Tansy, though.
4, 5, 6. So basically half of these were S's and one of those was an S plus. So the S plus was which one? The S plus.
Tansy and Tansy and what's his face?
More than Cobalion versus Fenglope?
Yeah.
Man.
But look at it. Grookey and Tansy. This is not okay.
I mean, honestly, it was hard to narrow it down to just these dozen. Like we could have done this segment for like a whole podcast with every single one and debated it. Like it is so bad in some places. I can't believe it.
No. They didn't have to do this.
Well,
they didn't have to. Because the gameplay is
They're
good.
gonna get off scot-free.
The gameplay is so fun that you didn't need to copy the Pokemon design. No one cared about those. Could have just done your own thing. So unfortunate. Wow.
All right. Well, that was illuminating.
That was like a palate cleanser because you were talking about some serious stuff, and I needed to laugh before I go into the next thing. You know what I mean? That was a good palate cleanser.
It's true.
Wow, that was great. Okay.
All right. Our Nintendo story time is a Nintendo Minute story that happened in, this was what, 2018?
It was.
Nintendo Minute gets whacked by the YouTube algorithm and almost gets canceled.
Yeah. Yeah, we were in dicey times.
Right.
In
So
2018.
I think we talk a lot about, now that we are full-time creators, with so much of our work being on YouTube, we are often at the whims of the YouTube algorithm, which is this shadowy behind-the-scenes thing that YouTube has, which kind of dictates what of your content gets sent out to more people than others. Mm-hmm. And there are people who have made a career out of being YouTube algorithm experts.
Yep.
Who will tell you what you should do to get the algorithm in your favor. But it's very much like a shadowy thing that they're constantly tweaking and changing. So it can honestly be very hard to have so much of your work be at the mercy of something like that is out of your control. And frankly, that's why something like Patreon is a very popular option for creators, because it's like, there's no algorithms. It's like, if I make something, they're going to see it. If I send it to my people, they're going to see it.
And that's the community that's most supportive of you. So you do need them.
Right. I mean, we had an episode about a month ago that something didn't click with the algorithm.
Oh my God.
And
I had a breakdown that day.
It's completely unexplainable for reasons beyond just the algorithm hated this episode. And it
tanked.
It tanked. It was like our worst performing episode
in 2 years,
probably ever. But
it was a good topic.
Right. There was nothing that we did differently that would have been like, oh yeah, this one was a dog.
I could not believe that.
Right. And then the next week we were back to normal.
I was in so much shock. I was like,
you were destroyed.
I was unable
You're like, it's over.
To go on with my life that
it's all
day.
over.
I just sat in a dark room, like, this is it.
Right. But I think you had the appropriate fear of that because of what we went through with this.
Yeah,
where
I was really scared.
There was a stretch of well over a month where Nintendo Minute was really getting hurt by the algorithm.
Yeah.
And it was looking bad.
It was looking bad. And to set the stage a little bit, we had talked about this before. Like, we really felt like Nintendo Minute sort of, quote unquote, took off after Switch launched in 2017. And it took off in a lot of different ways. Like, yes, we were getting higher viewership, but we also had a lot more resources that the company gave us, including a production team.
Yeah.
And new editors and just people to help keep the show going. So when this happened in 2018, it was really scary because before, when we were just like kind of under the radar, making Nintendo Minute with just you, me, and producer Stephanie, like, it was easier to like to ride out a bad wave or something like that. But it's really hard because the show was getting a lot of scrutiny because obviously the company's going to not want to put a lot of resources into something that is not performing. So yeah, we were getting pretty nervous, and it was like the summer of 2018.
It was leading up to Comic-Con 2018 because we had been working on a video for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which, and again, like, this was like peak Marvel movies, like nothing was bigger in the world in entertainment. Like, this game looked great. People were excited about this game. For this video, we had brought in 2 other creators. 2
other really big creators.
Pretty big name creators. So we had Strawberry 17 and Matt Robb, who was with Smosh back then, and we were going to do like kind of 4-player gameplay with this game that wasn't out yet. So we had exclusive gameplay. Mm-hmm. Like, this was a really promising episode for us.
And we sunk a lot of resources into that. We flew them into the Redwood City office. It was there was like money that we had.
So going into it, we were like, oh, this episode is going to do great. And we did it, and it was a very, we thought a good episode, and we were happy with how it turned out. But when we put it out, it was basically what I was saying happened, where it was like totally bottom of the barrel, no traction from minute one.
It was bad.
And it was like, oh no.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
Yeah, and it was weird to us too, because not only we had gone into this thinking like, oh, this is going to be great. We'll have like expanded reach because all of these 2 creators that we brought in will share it with their audience, and they did. And we'll be able to like even like maybe get new people to watch Nintendo Minute. This is such a broad IP with Marvel. Like it's gonna be even better than our normal episodes. I think that's what our mentality was.
Right.
And it was like the opposite. So it really like it was like very jarring.
It was a shock, yeah.
It really was. And yeah, so that happened and we were like very shell shocked from that. And it's like one of those things too where we did have a huge safety net that we don't have now because the Nintendo YouTube channel had a huge following.
Right.
So if you underperformed there with, more than however million subscribers, then it really does hurt because you're like, wow, like we already have all these subscribers. We're giving them like exclusive gameplay and that's not even popping. Like that's pretty bad. Versus now, it's like obviously we have a different situation now.
Right. So there was good and bad that came from that. Like the good was obviously you had this built-in audience.
Yeah.
The bad was like when something like this happened, it was hard to get at the root of like the data because YouTube's great about giving you a lot of data, but with the channel having so much other stuff on it, it's like hard to separate like, well, what is pertaining to this particular thing and what is pertaining to like, who knows, maybe we posted like some random trailer 2 days ago that impacted the direction of everything to come. And that is like kind of a real thing on YouTube is like the momentum of your stuff will sometimes impact the next thing that you post.
Now we're very like protective of the podcast. We're like, don't ever post anything.
Right. Well, we will never like move the time of this podcast coming out.
Yeah.
Because
we're like so
because we have a good thing going with it, and we want to keep that going. So that was really a big shock and surprise. This was also heading into San Diego Comic-Con where we were showing the game even more. So we were just a little bit like confused and worried.
Yeah.
Of like, well, that's different.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And we're just like, well, maybe it's just a blip. Who knows? And then at Comic-Con, we filmed another video that was sort of a fan-focused trivia thing called Know Yo Nintendo, which we had done a couple of those around that time. And those were pretty fun. It's always good to get something that had fan interaction. It was like...
And this was like out of the studio, like on site.
Right. It was like, do Nintendo fans know these facts? And we would sort of like bet on who did or didn't know it.
Right.
And that one tanked.
Badly.
Really badly.
Even worse than the other one.
Worse than the other one.
Worse than the other one.
So now we're like doubly concerned because it's like, oh, this is becoming a trend now that we have 2 weeks. And I will say, like, that is the other thing that is great about this is like you always have another video,
another shot
to reverse your fortunes.
Yeah.
But in this case, we had one video a week, so it's a long wait to get the next one out and like put all your hopes into that of like, yes,
it's true.
Things are going to get better now, and the video goes live, and another week try it. And you try and learn from that. You try and, find what is the takeaway.
Yeah, but you just don't know.
You don't know.
And it's frustrating, and it's like it can drive you like insane.
Right.
Because you're just like, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be? And you're just all these little factors that could come into play.
Is it me?
It might be me. Yeah, no, everybody has that
thought.
Me,
I mean you.
Oh, no, it's me.
It's you.
Sometimes we call people YouTube poison. Like, there's some guests.
We did have some guests.
Not here, not on the show.
No.
On Nintendo Minute, we called YouTube poison because it was like...
they can never come on again.
Yeah, they're banned. Our guests that have come onto the podcast are YouTube, like, gold.
Gold.
So
yes.
we're good there. Okay, so then we continue on. Week three.
So I think at this point we're like, well, let's just do something completely different that we've never done before. Let's try and shake it off. Shake off any cobwebs or dust. Like maybe people just want to see something fresh and new. So we did this one where we wear a blindfold and like reach into a box and like try and identify a Nintendo object just by feel alone.
Yeah.
And once again, we can't say, gosh, that's a good video. That was a fun video.
That's fun, yeah.
Really unique idea.
And just fun to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
I have seen other people do that idea, and it's always a fun thing.
Yeah, mystery
to
box.
do.
Yeah,
right.
That's a very common format.
Right.
For a lot of YouTubers. So.
Also, completely tanks. So now we have 3 in a row. Could say strike 3. Strike 1, 2, 3. It's not going well.
Oh no.
So the other thing that kind of factored into this also is, we would always do a report on our team.
Yes, the what's hot, what's
well the tops and bottoms.
Tops and bottoms.
So every week we would talk about in everything that Nintendo posted on social media, and this was in our big like in-person team meeting, like what was the best performing thing and what was the worst performing thing, and we were starting to appear at the bottom of like everything that was posted. This thing did the worst.
I remember that. It was like shame. It was shameful.
I felt so at that point. I was leading the team. I think it may have led some people to feel uncomfortable because it's like, am I going to get in trouble if I put my boss's face in this thumbnail in the you boss are the lowest performing thing on the whole channel? And I went out of my way to be like, hey, this is the content. You can't lie. You can't argue with the numbers. The numbers are what they are. This is the bottom. But let's talk about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But it's weird because then you like sort of have to like dance around it a little bit.
The person sitting
This is where we started to get a little worried though, because it's like, well,
because that report fed into a bigger report that got sent out to a lot of people.
A lot,
and that was
like
based
Reggie,
on, and that was based on the whole month.
Yeah.
So if you had something that was like worst in a month, like that could get somebody's attention and start like,
why are we still doing this?
What's going on? What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tell me more about these struggles that you're having.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of urgency felt.
We got to turn this around.
To turn this around.
Okay, so now we're into like August. This is August.
Right, now we're into August. So there's always hope in the next video. So we're like, all right, back to school. We have done
seasonal opportunity.
We have done back to school videos before. Sometimes they have the potential to do really well. Mm-hmm. We had a cool idea about having one of our friends and creators, Gonda Chris, on to do some DIYs for back to school.
Very different feeling than a typical gameplay video.
Right.
We're just trying to see what is going to stick.
We had her on before. She did the custom amiibo. People loved that. That was a video that did great. So again, like optimistic. It's all going to be fine once we do this video.
Tanks.
Absolute turd.
Not the video. The video was lovely, and we still have those DIYs.
The performance tanked.
The performance of the video was terrible.
And then the one after that also tanked. The Good Hang or Tough Hang Luigi's Mansion 3 edition, because we were starting to get into the time of promoting Luigi's Mansion 3 then. So that brought us to like the end of August. So we had an awful summer.
Yeah.
Of just being bottom of the barrel, bottom of the rung. And it's like we're kind of running out of ideas of like, what can we do? What is the problem? What do we need to do?
Yeah, we just didn't know at that point. We were very discouraged as well. And we were kind of scared that someone was going to tell us to just stop, like shut the whole operation down.
So I did something that I was a little wary of doing because, again, I was always very concerned of people saying like, well, you're just using your power as the head of this team to call your own number. Because if I said to somebody, hey, I need you promoting Nintendo Minute 5 days a week, like, I could probably tell somebody to do that. It would be an awful thing to do.
Yeah.
And I would never do that. But there are probably people out there who would do that if they were in my position.
Right.
And it was their face in the thing.
Yeah.
Showing up at the bottom of the report. Like, hey, we got to push this heavy.
Yeah, but you didn't do that.
No.
You never did that.
But I did have a conversation with our person at YouTube because in addition to Nintendo Minute, there were some other things that we had that were... the things we had on the channel were like trailers, commercials, and then like other stuff. A lot of it was like our team was doing. There were some other things that had softness. So I was like, all right, I'm not going to specifically mention Nintendo Minute because again, the guy's going to be like, hey, that's you. Like, it's a very delicate situation. But I was like, there's certain types of content on our channel that are kind of beyond the traditional trailers that we're posting. It's like it's just not doing that well.
Yeah.
And like, is there something maybe on your end that has changed or that we should be aware of going forward, like some best practice? Because they are very good at proactively coming to us and just like, hey, we want to give you the state of YouTube. Like here's what you should know, because we're such a big partner, big channel for them. Like they were very good at telling us that stuff.
Yeah, they were a good partner.
And the guy was very cagey about it. He's like, no, there's not really anything that's happened, but thanks for, relaying the concern and, we'll look into it and blah, blah, blah. Like just a total
brush off.
Non-response.
Yeah.
But Well, we'll come back to this later, but there may have been some benefits to doing that, to just voicing that concern. Something else that we did was we did start to meet with one of those, quote, YouTube experts.
Yeah, we went to a talk at VidCon, I believe, and saw
Right,
him.
by this guy. His name's Daryl Eves.
Yes.
His kind of claim to fame is he was associated with Mr. Beast very early.
Right.
And he's like, we helped to develop like
his formula.
The formula and really
Yeah.
because like nobody's cracked the YouTube formula like Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
So that is a good feather in his cap to be like,
Right.
I helped launch Mr. Beast.
Right.
And he's a very nice guy and he gave us some tips and he helped us out. Like it was a very extensive process that he went through.
He basically audits your channel.
Right.
Or audits all the videos on the channel that were, Nintendo Minute videos. And he was auditing the Nintendo channel as well.
Right.
But what he does that's I thought was pretty valuable is he does give you like very actionable things to try. And so we did.
Yeah.
We tried them.
Right. So, a lot of any of these people will always tell you like, focus on your title and thumbnail because that's what brings people in and from there have some sort of a hook to retain them. Like that is the like most basic like how to do okay at YouTube kind of formula that there is. But he gave us a lot of advice on that, and he did give us some reassuring stuff of like there's nothing like that bad about the content you're putting out. It's like you're just kind of in a slump, but like let's try these things that are a little bit different and see if we can shake it up. So we did, and the next video that we did, we went back to Breath of the Wild, which was just a perpetually popular game.
Yeah, and I think before we had this perception, especially when we were at Nintendo and we get early access to a lot of the games, that like the only videos that can do well is pre-launch games.
Right.
But I think after talking to Daryl and like thinking about just interesting, like creatively thinking about content, it's like, no, there's so many opportunities with games after they've launched or things after they've launched that can still be interesting. And so while we would never have thought that to be an idea in the past, like we totally were like, okay, let's try that.
Right. So we did this video, the No Map Challenge, which was like to see who could get to a place without using the map. Mm-hmm. We did also use this thing that he was encouraging us to do of like give more like consequences to a challenge. He was like, you need to have some sort of payoff at the end where there's some sort of punishment for the loser because people will want to see that and people will want to see the drama that builds of finding out like who's going to win or who's not going to win. And we came up with this dumb idea of the dubious food. Yeah. Somebody's going to have to eat dubious food.
You had to eat it.
I did. What the dubious food actually was, we'll never say. We will never say. It was dubious food.
It was very dubious.
That's what it was, straight from the gate.
Dubious.
Mr. Aonuma FedExed it to us in a box. It was disgusting.
Like a dry ice situation.
Yes. But that video did well. And that was very cathartic to finally, get back on track. And from there, we were kind of back on our normal pace. So I think it was a combination of things of, taking the advice from him of trying something different and really trying to hone in on these actual things that do trigger the algorithm in different ways of bring people in, keep them there. That will help. This call to YouTube, like, could there have been something behind the scenes? I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe there was. Who knows? Maybe there was something positive about that.
It did start to become better.
The fortunes did change, but
and then we were okay.
Yes, but it was 2 months of pain and fear of what could have been, but we were able to turn things around.
Now we live that fear every day on a very even more real level because literally your livelihood is tied to this ridiculous algorithm. Right. And that 10 out of 10 podcast was the most scary moment of my career. And I was like, oh my gosh. But we turned it around.
We have continued to meet with Daryl. We did meet with him again when we started this new channel because it's like, well, it's a different circumstance. We know you. We like you.
Yeah, no, he's
like
great.
help us get off on the right foot.
Really
so
good.
He's super good.
Yeah. Anyways, let's hope that this one doesn't get algorithms. Please watch this.
Well, let's see it. They're already watching it. What's the point of that?
Oh my God, please watch this
Oh my gosh. All right, where are we now? We are so jumbled up.
Games we are playing.
Oh, we're on games we're playing. Yes,
we are. Yeah, we are.
All right. Well, we got a big one. we've both been playing Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
Got some great codes from Sega. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I was very worried I wasn't going to get it due to my...
Well, I get a code and you won't. That'd be great.
It was my Sonic karma that turned it around.
That little memento.
Like, man, I've said a lot of mean things about Sonic the Hedgehog. They're not going to like this when I request a code.
Come on.
But they came through.
They came through. But anyways, we have both been playing this game. I think we've both been loving it so far.
Yeah.
Now, you gave me a little disclaimer, which is, at the beginning of this game, I heard there was a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah, so we got the game kind of right as it came out. But
Yes.
at that point, some people had finished the game and reviewed it, and I'd been listening to people on podcasts who had been playing it, and they were like, yeah, just be prepared. The first handful of hours of this game is very story heavy,
Right.
very cutscene heavy.
Yes.
So just know that. This is a very long game, so you will eventually have
Play
more
something.
control, but for
Play
these
the
first
game.
parts, like, just don't expect to be doing a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
fun.
actually really glad that you gave me that disclaimer. I don't mind the cutscenes in this game because they're very the dialogue, the story is very well done. But it is very heavy. I mean, I barely touched the controller.
It's a little ridiculous, actually. Like
I put the controller down. I was just like
these-
watching it like a movie.
if these cutscenes were not this well done and the story was not this interesting, like
Yeah.
I would be a little annoyed, honestly.
You could skip them.
Well, I need to know it. I need to know what's happening.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you didn't like to watch them, then you could skip them.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I definitely wouldn't recommend
Yeah.
that. But you wouldn't want to anyway because the cutscenes
It's really
is
good. It's really good stuff.
really good stuff. So yeah, this takes place right after Like a Dragon 7, and kind of picks right up where
Right.
that is, and you sort of learn in those first couple hours, like, sort of a couple years have gone by, like what is everybody up to?
Mm-hmm.
Like all your old friends are there.
Yeah, there's like a lot of time spent on like, well, what's this person doing now, or what's that person doing now?
What's this person's life like?
And they're all
after-
still
yeah.
they're all still hanging out, but their lives are different now that they
Yes.
got over this big adventure.
Exactly. So that was good character setup. Obviously, Ichiban, his life looks and feels very different now that he is sort of
Right. So
after the events of the last one. He's
right.
doing a different thing now.
So in the last game, like they kind of disbanded a lot of the Yakuza
right, the only
organizations.
Yes.
And he is kind of working in this like employment agency,
Mm-hmm.
helping to get the old Yakuza jobs.
Yeah, like the
But-
ex-Yakuza.
But I guess this is a thing in Japan, like there's this like societal rule where if you were previously Yakuza for 5 years, like you kind of can't do anything. They're like, you can't rent an apartment, you can't get a phone plan, like you can't do anything. So he's like trying to find ways to help people get around that, which turns out to be kind of like skirting the law in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Which results in him getting like canceled online, which is hilarious.
So the thing that I absolutely love about this game, and I really started to notice this with the last Yakuza game,
Yeah.
is that they do so much like just very like current social
Yes.
commentary
Yes.
in a way that is like it's like serious in a way where they're
Well-
like, yes, we seriously want you to think about these issues, but also funny.
Well,
and
this is this is what old GTA did so well. Like they
Amazing.
now have the championship belt.
they have it.
Until GTA 6 comes out,
If we're ever gonna make it.
if they can somehow pick it up, they'll get it back, but this is the current like holder of that.
Exactly. Like they did so much of that about like homelessness in Japan,
Yeah.
like in the last game. And they still talk about a lot of that in this game. They talk about sort of like, what do you do when you're sort of on these fringes of society and you're trying to get your life back? Like, shouldn't these people get a chance? These are serious, issues that we face in our country, right? And then, yes, the part about him getting canceled online was incredible. Like in this era of like YouTube takedown
Yeah.
videos, like that is what happens to him.
They even have like a video with like a VTuber, and they're
Yes.
like, it's like exactly how it would be done.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like let me show you the receipts of this
Yeah.
evidence of this takedown, and it's all this internet drama. And poor Ichiban is like, I don't even go online.
He's
Like,
an old guy. He's like, I don't go online.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is a like what do you mean by like you're gonna film this and
Yeah.
put it online to cancel me? I don't
Right.
understand. And so he grapples with this like new reality. And then the his three, Namba and Adachi, they're all three like kind of old guys. They're like, like how do we even go about coming out of this? Like once the news is out there, what do you do?
Right.
So it's such like a interesting way of looking at like cancel culture and all that stuff. But
it's the same
incredible stuff.
It's the same thing that only this series can do, of going from super serious topics to super silly topics, like seamlessly without skipping a beat, and it all just makes sense. So like in between that, there's this pretty long segment, like really early on, where like he decides he wants to ask one of his like female friends from the last game out on a date.
Yeah, he's like in love with her.
And
so cute.
Or like in almost any other game, this would be such an unwelcome tangent where you just kind of like want to get settled and want to get down to business. But there's like an hour-long thing of him getting advice from these two degenerates.
Yeah,
these two old men
who are also like single and have no business giving him dating advice.
Right. They have no business at all.
But they give him like all this, and you have to do cool, like kind of funny little tasks.
Yeah.
And it like goes into your personality.
Yeah,
like, you choose. But the dialogue is like, I was cry laughing. It was so hilarious. And then he goes on the date, and you do the whole date thing.
Right.
You like go through that entire thing, and you feel it for him. You're
and
like feeling it.
There is a story significance to the date.
Yes.
But it like that could have totally derailed the game at a very early point, and somehow it didn't.
No.
Like that's the take. It was like somehow they're able to do
done.
pull off these things that no other game can.
It is notable that this game feels a little bit more like, it almost has like the Persona 5 treatment, like where there are a lot of sort of really fun scenes where it just feels very stylized. Like there is a scene in the very beginning where they roll sort of the beginning credits.
Oh, yeah.
That's just like incredible to watch, and just like very stylish, very cool. And then another scene a little bit later on, that first chapter, where Ichiban really becomes like your vision of Ichiban. Like he becomes like what we all think about in our minds when we think about Ichiban. And like that whole segment was like very stylized and well done. And even some of the game, like the fighting mechanics it kind of gives me that vibe as well. But yeah, it feels like very fresh in that way, which I really like as well.
They have made a lot of subtle changes to the battle mechanics now that you bring that up, where it's turn-based still. Right. But now they've added this mechanic where you can move in sort of in any direction in this small circle.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like strategy to that, where you can knock enemies into other enemies, or you can knock enemies into your other party members, and they'll do an additional attack.
Right. Or if you have like an AoE attack or something like that, you can like line up the enemies somehow and like do a lot, of mass damage.
Or you could also walk over and like pick something up. Like, I'm going to hit you with this bicycle. I'm going to walk over there.
It's so satisfying.
And do that. So like that's a pretty subtle change, but it's like really big in terms of how it plays.
Right.
Which is, I think that's a trend for the whole game, is like they haven't redefined anything, but they've added a lot of pretty smart little touches.
I think so too. The battling is definitely more strategic than previous Yakuza games, I think. And yeah, there's the attack part of it. There's also like a perfect block that you can do. It's very reminiscent, like a Mario RPG, for example, where you gotta do the thing. There's some quick time events as well for boss fights, which I found to be like very fun. And they don't overdo it. Like a lot of games overdo it, and you're always like quick timing it like all the time. But it makes for like a little bit of a shake up when you're doing sort of this a long chain battle. And there's still that thing where like enemies appear as in like Ichiban's imagination. So they're not just like normal looking people on the street. Like they can look different or act differently.
Have you found the guy in the sleeping bag?
I have.
That one really freaked me out.
There's also a guy in a garbage bag. He's in a garbage bag.
I've seen them.
And then you're like, I'm like trying to see like what is this guy doing? When do I hit the block button? And then the line is, oh bleep, he has a gun. I was like, what? I laughed and I got shot because I was like not expecting the line. And I really like I just wasn't expecting. It was so funny. But yeah, there's a lot of humorous things too, obviously in this game.
So the first couple hours take place in Yokohama still. Are you in Hawaii now?
No.
You're not?
I just finished chapter 1 last night.
What?
And so I'm getting into chapter 2 tonight.
I think I'm almost done with chapter 3.
Oh, wow.
So I've been in Hawaii for a little while now. But even once you get there, the story cutscenes continue quite a bit.
Okay.
But they do set up why you go to Hawaii.
I'm getting a little sense of why I might be going.
And it feels like a good mystery that will propel a lot of the story forward.
Okay.
And I have met up with Kiryu, who is in Hawaii also.
Ooh.
And now he is in my party. And
Kiryu's hot.
he controls... Well, Kiryu's got a new... So let's talk about it. Kiryu's got a new look for this game.
Oh, really?
Which I told you, I was like, this is not the Kiryu that I know and love.
Okay, then
and thought was the hottest character in video games, but I need your opinion.
Okay, I gotta look.
He's got a hair... I think it's his haircut. He has a new haircut that's giving me, like, real Matchbox 20 vibes from like 2001. Yeah.
There is like a little bit of like a 90s boy band style happening with some of the characters.
Oh.
Like there's like the middle part hair.
Okay.
Kind of longish hair, and then the outfits too. I'm like, what era is this?
Maybe that's coming back.
Yeah, maybe it's coming back.
But he's got a bit of a different look to him, but he plays, it's the same thing where like you can choose the different stances in the battle, and then you can do different attacks. He's entirely just like hand-to-hand combat, which is a pretty cool translation of that. I've met some new characters. The game has not yet fully opened up where I can just walk around Hawaii as much as I want. I want that to happen so I can see like the scope of like can I just go walk on the beach or like what exactly are the boundaries? Because we've both been to Honolulu.
I love Honolulu, and I can't wait to walk around.
That's a fun little wrinkle for us of this place that we've been to.
Yeah.
And there's people like our friend Gene Park who we had on. Like he's from Hawaii, so he has been super like digging deep into everything. Yeah, that's
fun. He can be like he can go into like a childhood memory.
Yes.
In the game, which is pretty cool.
Right, but there is also this aspect now of a Japanese person in Hawaii, and I was really wondering like, well, how are they going to do like some of the dialogue? Because
I'm playing Japanese. Are you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah. There's times where he's interacting with somebody who speaks English. They handle that pretty well. It hasn't been like jarring or anything, and there are enough Japanese speaking people in Hawaii that there's still a lot of Japanese to Japanese dialogue.
That's accurate. So
which is cool. But they, like we were saying, like they are also now skewering American culture as well. Like there's a lot of scenes with like the American police that they're clearly just like having a field day with, or like corrupt cops and stuff like this.
I love this. Okay.
Yeah. So.
The way that they do it is so well done, because again, it is a serious issue, but they approach it in a way where there's like a little levity. So you're like, I want to digest this issue because I know that this is like a serious thing that's happening, but I can also like laugh a little bit too.
Yeah.
So I really like how they're playing that balancing act is very impressive.
Right.
And I'm absolutely loving it so far. So.
Now, since we're talking about Kira, I have to ask you: is Ichiban hot too? Because I was wondering this too. Because in the scene where he's naked on the beach, like he's jacked. He is full on jacked.
He has really nice arms.
So I think the answer is yes, but I don't know about this. Is his hairdo strange?
The face is
the face in the pause menu. I'm very confused by like.
Yeah, he's very exaggerated in his expressions.
Right.
But like, he's a nice body.
This is a yes or no question.
I would say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
good.
You know what? He's like a personality get. Like he's like that guy that
got a heart of gold.
That's
very charming.
Where you like maybe you look at him and you don't never talk to him and he's like not your type, but then you talk to him for like 10 minutes, you're like in love with him. Because he has like that kind of rough around the edges but a heart of gold. That is like the most attractive thing ever.
And he's jacked.
And he's jacked.
There we go.
That can always be an extra, but
across the board.
He's a personality get for sure. He's like that guy that just becomes like 100 times hotter because he has a good personality. So yeah.
Okay.
Yes, good. I love me some Ichiban.
Glad we answered those questions.
Yes.
You got to get going. You got to get going with this game here.
I know. Well,
we got to do a spoiler cast in a few weeks.
I got this. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got this.
This game's long.
This game is long.
The other thing we've been playing is more Palworld.
Yes.
I admittedly have not touched this since we got the Like a Dragon codes because I wanted to get far enough to talk about it on this podcast, but I'm itching to go back.
Yes, I've discovered my way to multitask Like a Dragon and Palworld, which is, so I play these like big, cinematic games. Like usually.
Oh, here we go.
Usually at night, like my time to play these games is like after I finish dinner after I'm done with all the work, and like now I can sit down and relax and like play, 3 hours, like 3 uninterrupted hours of this great game on my big screen, and really give myself like the sort of like the focus and attention. But it's hard for me to do that throughout the day.
Oh.
Like I don't like to do that like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon kind of thing, because I don't want to like turn that stuff on. So I have been playing Palworld throughout the day with my backbone.
Yeah.
Your backbone that you gave to me.
Well, it's yours now.
It's mine now.
Yeah.
But that has really been perfect, because I don't need the big screen for Palworld.
Doesn't meet your cinematic criteria?
I mean, it's fine.
It's a nice looking game.
It's a nice looking game. Yeah. There's some problems with the early access graphics, but whatever. But like I'm doing stuff like I need to do like little tasks around my base. I'm doing
Is the font size an issue on your phone?
Not really. I mean, I'm looking. Maybe I'm real close.
That's my one concern with that, because I now have it. So you can do cloud play with this game? Mm-hmm. That's nice, because I did set up my Steam Deck to do the cloud play on that. Maybe I'll check that out tonight, because that could be cool.
Because then you can play it like kind of throughout the day. So I like over the weekend, like as I was like doing stuff and taking a little like 15, 30-minute break between things, like I can play a little Palworld.
Right.
And it's perfect, because like at this point I'm like just continuing to build my base, and like I'm still like exploring a little bit, trying to level up some more.
Yeah.
Trying to catch new pals or whatever, like taking on some of the more, like, I guess they're called like boss pals or whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to catch those so I can be ready for this. I tried that first boss fight and I got
the tutorial boss, you mean?
I got worked by that.
That boss is hard.
Difficult.
That's like a wake up call for sure.
Yeah, it was bad. I did not.
You need to have pretty powerful pals,
Yeah.
and you're in this like arena that has these big pillars. Like your character needs to hide a lot of the time, and I had the triple shot bow and arrow.
Yeah, my pal man.
And if you aim at the person riding the Totoro, you do critical hits. So if you can hit them with the bow and arrow, you can get critical hits. But you need to cycle. Like once the pal gets low, you bring out the next one, and then they'll heal. You need to cycle through, and eventually everybody can heal up and keep coming out. You do have 10 minutes to do it though.
I know.
When I did it, I had like 5 seconds left.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go for broke to try and get this.
Okay. So now I have much better pals. I also was able to get, one of my pals has a gun now. Two of my pals have guns.
I'm really jealous of that. I don't have that yet.
So I'm really excited about that. One is the little like green squirrel looking thing.
Not Grookey.
One of them is Grookey.
Does Grookey have the gun, like from the
He has a
trailer?
submachine gun.
Really?
And
oh, I really want that.
it's pretty cool.
I really want that.
And then the other one is like the green Eevee. It's like, it looks like a...
that. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Like a
little
leafy?
squirrel-looking thing.
Yeah, and then he sits on your head and he shoots a gun.
That's
like a
cool.
machine gun.
That's
like
cool.
an AK, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I do have some firepower now, which is good.
Oh, all right.
I did catch some like boss pals.
Yeah.
One is like an ice one, so I'm hopeful that will help.
That big ice squirrel?
Yes.
Yes, that one's really good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I haven't tried that big ice squirrel.
It's really big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's cool.
It's like a ferret.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a big old
sort
ferret.
Of rodent varmint.
Yeah.
Vermin thing.
Weird looking, but
yes.
whatever. And I have that giant bird. Huge. It looks like a Pidgey, but like 100 times the size of like a.
Okay.
Whatever.
I don't know. I have a bird. I don't know if it's the same bird, but okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna be able to take on that boss in the next.
Well,
day
let's hope so. How far have you been exploring, though?
Pretty far.
Yeah.
I've unlocked a fair chunk of the map. Some of the areas are clearly too high level for me.
Yeah.
Because some of the levels are like up to like level 30-ish.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, no, I shouldn't be here.
That's really.
But I did get like the little fast travel thing, so I can pop back. My base is level 9, so that's exciting.
Okay.
I
think we're close there.
I have a lot of the basics on my base now. I got the tree, the rocks, the ore, the smelting station.
The hot springs.
I got hot springs.
All important hot springs.
Hot springs are so cute.
I've never seen them go into it though.
Oh, they love going into it. They're always in there like chilling. And I'm like, can you get back to work?
Can you go in it?
No, I can't go into it.
You can't hang with the pals in the hot springs?
I would love to be in a hot spring with them. They're so cute.
That sounds
Maybe
fun.
like wet dog is kind of stinky though.
Oh.
Do you smell that? I don't know. And then I have the little like what is it called? Like the little lamb. What is it
Lamb
called?
ball.
No, but like that thing where you put the lamb.
Oh, the pen?
The pen.
I don't have that yet.
Like a little farming
Right.
pen. They give you wool and stuff. And I have like a lot of I have an egg incubator now.
Oh, have you hatched an egg?
I hatched one.
And what came out? Was it worth it?
It was worth it.
Because I'm holding on to a lot of eggs right now. They're kind of heavy.
I got big old eggs. I just put them in storage.
But what came out?
I hatched a large dark egg and this like dark
A new one.
A new one.
Oh, okay.
And then now I'm working on a dark. It's a very heavy, large, verdant egg. So I'm assuming like a grass type.
Well, that's cool.
Will come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can hatch them in there, and then I got the little PAL crafting station, so I can build them guns and stuff.
Wow.
And and then I gotta make I have the other one I need to do now is the medicine, the little medicine desk, because 2 of my pals were horribly injured. One of them sprained their ankle.
Mine were always getting sick. It's like so-and-so has an ulcer. Like, oh no.
One is critically injured. So I had to take him out and put him back in the box.
Yeah.
It's just to make sure he didn't like die or something. And then one sprained an ankle. Maybe because like carting the rocks around, sprained a little ankle.
Uh-oh.
Ankle got sprained.
Gosh.
A little cankle. So I have to make some medicine, but I don't know how.
Okay.
Some of them look very serious. It's like a needle. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I mean, I've come around to this game is legit good.
It's so good.
And obviously, that's one of the reasons why it has been so popular is like it's a crazy concept and it's good.
Yes.
So I was a little worried though, like with Like a Dragon coming, with these other games coming, I was like, have I played my last Palworld? But I was like, no, like that game is still very much on my mind.
I think about it a lot.
I'm gonna go back to it tonight. Now that I've made a lot of progress in Like a Dragon, I can spend a little bit more time on that.
Yes.
And
do your cloud play. It's nice.
Yeah, I do want to check. I want to check that out.
Like that's easy to do.
There's just something about that formula that is a really unique mashup of things. And the more I see, like the more Breath of the Wild.
Yes, the exploration is what is keeping me very interested.
I also found caves. I started poking around caves, which are these sort of like dungeons areas that you can do where there's often a boss and like a treasure at the end. Mm-hmm. I kind of didn't love that experience. The cave was really big.
Is it dark?
No.
Okay.
No, but I was worried about getting lost because there's like all these branching paths and there's no map for the cave.
Oh, not that again.
So I was like, can I ever get out of here? Like, I guess I could hit the respawn thing and just die.
But then you lose all your stuff.
I know, so I really didn't want to do that, but I figured it out. So I'm going to stay out of the caves.
Okay.
And hope maybe they keep tweaking those, because I kind of didn't like the way those were handled.
There's like the little circles that you run into, and then if you go there, it says like enter the dungeon. I have never entered. But it's not a cave. It looks like
I don't know if I've seen that.
It looks like a storm drain cover.
Oh.
Like a sewer cover.
Huh.
But like pretty.
No, I haven't seen that, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Wow.
But I'm too scared to go down it.
Okay.
So I've just been walking around, like exploring around. I have had some pretty bad bugs, though.
Oh, yeah, you said you had a bad day with bugs.
I had a pretty bad day where
you
I just
fell through the ground
into the water and drowned. And I lost all my stuff. I had to remake everything. So.
Oh, because there was no way, because when you die, your stuff gets...
My stuff was
So your stuff was in the ground?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know.
Oh, that's really bad.
It was bad.
Oh.
I didn't have too much stuff. I don't carry a lot of stuff with me.
I understand that. That would have been a real bummer.
But I was bummed out. I had some, it happened like twice too,
Yeah.
and I was really like annoyed.
One night, I had a lot of enemies getting stuck like in rocks.
Oh.
But nothing really happened to me.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, they do seem to be putting out a lot of patches, so it's possible they're fixing some things but breaking other things.
Yeah, I mean, I understand this is early access, so that's fine. I get it, so I'm not gonna like complain too much about it, but I was a little frustrated. Obviously, you're gonna get frustrated when something like this happens.
Yeah,
the thing that I'll say again is like the gameplay is so strong, and this game loop that they created is so good. They don't need to copy the Pokemon.
Yeah.
They really didn't. They could have done anything else. Those creatures are so inconsequential.
But you do need the creatures.
You need a creature, but you don't.
It could have been.
It could look like anything else.
It could have been something else.
Could have been something else.
Right.
Could have been anything else.
Yeah.
And it would have been fine. Like you can give anything else a gun. Who cares? But they just honestly they do not need to do that. So it's kind of funny how that became like such a big topic of like I can't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I still can't believe they did it either. But it's like you don't really you didn't have to because the game was like good. So you didn't need to have this like weird thing to like hitch your wagon to. But whatever. Yeah, but it's good. It's fun. I'm gonna keep playing it for sure.
Well, these 2 games we're playing might be the 2 games we're playing next week. I'm not sure what else is new coming out until this new Final Fantasy. We're getting real close to this Final Fantasy.
1 month away as of today.
I think it's less than that, is it?
No, it's exactly.
Oh,
1
is
month
it?
Today,
Okay.
As of today, yeah.
Good. That gives I need more time with Like a Dragon.
I'm never gonna. I better stop going out. I better just.
You can't do it.
I did go out this weekend.
You're gonna be chained to the couch.
Yes, I need to
Playing
really,
video
like,
games.
Play video
Yes,
games.
you are.
Play video games.
All right, let's get into the questions from our community, and we get each and every question from our Patreon community. Our first question is from DMC. On playing games with inverted axes controls, what would happen if Kit and Krysta swapped places behind the table? What mayhem would ensue on the Krysta and Kit podcast?
No, stop it! This is making me crazy already. No, I'm a creature of habit.
So we do have a rule.
Yes.
That I always sit on the right, no matter where, like beyond this table, if we are filming something on the green screen or in our little streaming area.
Everything is always like this.
It's always this placement.
Yeah. And like when we have our
Why is that though? Why is it?
little heads,
Yes.
like our little pixel portraits
Right.
that we have, like when you put them next to each other, it's always that way.
Right. We did share in our Discord the official style guide that you made, which I think was interesting for some people to see. But
I need to update that actually with some new stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Why is it like that though? Why is it so set in stone?
I don't know. I think we just started like this, like on that couch when we did Nintendo Minute. So now it feels weird to do it the other way. I don't know if I can sit in that seat. I think it'd be strange.
Well, it would be different, but I think it would be fine.
No, it wouldn't.
Okay.
You don't know anything.
Let's move on.
And also, it has to be the Kit and Krysta pockets. We do it alphabetically.
Yes. I've been accused of favoritism on that.
First billing?
What's gonna be Kit? That was not my idea.
Alphabetical.
That was actually not my idea.
Alphabetical.
Guardtooth is next. If there was a Mount Rushmore of famous video game villains, which 4 would you each pick and why?
Okay.
So Mount Rushmore has 4.
4 heads.
Who are the 4 on Mount Rushmore? Do you know that?
No.
Let's see.
Do you know
George
Jefferson?
Washington.
No.
Abraham Lincoln. I think Jefferson is on there. And then is it Teddy Roosevelt? Is he the 4th one?
Grant.
No, it's not Grant. I think it might be Teddy Roosevelt. That's my guess.
Are you sure?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Because I think that was coming out around the time of Teddy Roosevelt, and they're like, yeah, we like him.
People like him.
He's we can't have all these super old guys. Gotta have a new one, right?
Are we right? Tell us in the comments.
I don't know. Or we
Okay.
could just Google it.
I don't want to. I want to be told.
You don't care.
I want to be told.
All right, so we need 4.
Okay.
4
I want
villains.
them to not only like, for me, I think it needs just to look cool. Like who's a cool
I mean, if you're going to
looking-
chisel it into stone.
Right, it's gotta look cool.
Right. you
My
need
number
that.
1 is definitely Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf, just because he's so hot.
I mean, you could argue he's already chiseled out of stone.
Exactly.
Right?
Just the head, though.
But no, hold on. Why? I don't know if you can be that specific. I think you can say Ganondorf in general.
No!
I don't know if you can say that specific one.
Why not? I want that face and that
Oh, you could,
chiseled-
okay, but you could say that is the iteration that we are going to depict.
Yes.
But we need to recognize the entire body of work of Ganondorf.
Body. Of work.
Poor phrasing on my part. but
great phrasing on your
but
part.
we need to recognize the history of Ganondorf.
Whatever.
Because there's more to Ganondorf than just that.
Fine.
And Ganondorf has been memorable. I'd say, guys are not Bowser. How's Bowser not the top option?
Bowser's gotta be a
Bowser's
gotta be
but this is easy. The first 2 are easy.
Okay.
After that though, let's see.
What about
I mean, people frequently say Sephiroth.
Sephiroth? I was thinking Sephiroth.
But I don't know that game well enough to say, like, is it truly legitimized for him to be on this list?
I don't think so.
Is it overplayed?
Because like there's
What is appealing or interesting about Sephiroth?
I don't know. I mean, I feel
You
like,
don't know. Great. I don't think
feel
you should
like
be on the
Sephiroth
list.
is like not a black and white villain. I guess is my point.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one of those things where it's like, well, I kind of see, like, not like you agree,
Yeah.
but it's not like Bowser is, not even, I guess that's not even like true anymore. But I guess Ganondorf is our true villain. Like, he is just
Right.
evil. right?
I mean, this is quickly becoming a Nintendo Mount Rushmore, which is fine. I mean, you could put a Metroid on there.
No, I don't want that.
Why not?
Because it looks weird.
But
I have one.
What?
King Boo.
No.
Wouldn't that look cool on
You're
Mount
getting
Rushmore?
too caught up in the looks.
I want it to look cool.
What? Tell me anything about King Boo.
It looks cool.
What do you know about King Boo? Nothing.
He's got a crown.
He's big. That's all you know.
Fun.
That's literally all you know about
that big
King
old
Boo.
face on a Mount Rushmore
all
with a
you
little
know.
crown?
That's
How fun!
That's all you know about King Boo.
You don't know
Metroid is
anything.
much more. We're moving on. We're failing this question hard.
Oh.
We'll think about this. Maybe we'll do that. We'll pick this up in the bonus Q&A. We'll do a better job of
That
preparing for
behind the
this.
scenes.
Yes. Len asks, hi Krysta and Kit. Oh, here we go. My friends and I were talking about off-brand / unofficial Pokemon merch. One of us has a hat of a Pikachu that looks like an octopus. What is the most bizarre unofficial Nintendo merch you have seen or purchased?
We have a lot of unofficial Nintendo merch, I think.
Well, we do now.
Yeah.
But bizarre.
Oh, bizarre.
Yes. I always go towards those Mario piñatas.
Oh,
which
yeah.
you see everywhere.
We used to get them for the office.
There was a lot that happened
There was
around
Cinco de Mario.
Cinco de Mayo, which we called Cinco de Mario.
It was all bad.
There was somebody who would make promotional flyers for these office events, and they would just go nuts with Photoshop.
And they would basically violate all the
doing
rules.
things that like could get you fired with
Yeah.
these art assets.
Yes.
So it was
Yes.
Cinco de Mario, and there were these crazy flyers of Mario and friends doing stuff, and then they would bring in a Mario piñata. It's like, how am I celebrating Mario by beating him into pieces?
It is so ironic too, because when we were making like we had that thing where we had Sugar High Score make Mario cookies or like a Mario cake.
Right.
And Japan would
can't do
flip
that.
out because they were like, you can't eat Mario's face. Yet at the Rapid City office, we were taking a stick and beating the pulp out of a piñata Mario. Illegitimate piñata
Japan
Mario.
knew what happened in that lunchroom. They would be
They would
shocked.
be so
They would be mad.
No wonder they closed down their office.
In the bathrooms, there was also
No
strange
wonder they closed down their
strange
office.
signage in the bathrooms
There's a
too.
lot of strange signage
Yes.
about duty in the bathroom. Okay, so that's a good one. I'm looking at one, which is this
what is it?
rupee mirror. It's not weird, but it's really cool.
It's not bizarre at all.
Okay, it's not bizarre.
No.
It needs to be bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
I think some of the Halloween costumes get a little bit like uncanny.
Those are
valley.
official.
Well, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about some of the other ones. There's
The
other.
sexy ones?
No.
Oh,
not,
what are you talking about?
Not really. There's just other ones like there's like bootleg like Link costumes.
It just says, oh,
and they always have like a fun.
green elf with sword.
Right, like
something
Elf
that.
Hero or
Elf
something.
Hero.
Yeah, like some of those
okay,
can be
okay.
pretty funny. So I think those are good.
There are some like really funny like clothes and things like that I see on like really lame like Chinese Amazon sites like Temu, like that, you know, that site that's just garbage.
Right.
But they have so many like I get sponsored this a lot because I think that it thinks that I like gaming stuff, which I do. So I get sponsored a lot of like weird stuff. But I saw like a bootleg Nintendo Switch rug. And that was strange, and it was like, but it didn't say
like a doormat kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it looked like a Switch, but it was like video game console. Like it was like
That could be cool.
That's a bootleg one though.
That could be cool.
Okay, you want one? Should I get it at Temu?
I kind of don't hate that. I want to see it, but
There's a lot of
kinda
clothes,
like that.
like a lot of weird clothes that
Right.
are clearly.
Right. I mean, we did a whole video. I mean, you found a Switch toaster for Switch games. It's like you put the games in the toaster.
I should bring that.
That's
toaster
pure
was
trash.
so cute.
That's pure trash. Like we did a whole video. Like a lot of like Beat 'em Up Wood does all sorts of videos on this
There's
stuff
some weird
too.
stuff.
So it's just it's pretty funny to see.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Marvin25 says, hey, Kit and Krysta, I was one of the lucky Nintendo fans that got invited to the Nintendo Switch preview tour here in the DC area. My question is, how do they choose who is invited, what locations they decide to tour to, and do you think they will do that for Switch 2? I'm not a social media celebrity or in the gaming industry, just a huge Nintendo fanboy, so I assume they selected folks who register a lot of Nintendo products or have Nintendo accounts. Thanks, and happy 100 episodes. So yes, they did do a big tour nationwide where they basically took the event that we had in New York in January 2017, and it hit the road.
Right.
And people could come to that and go to that. They're absolutely doing this for Switch 2.
Oh, yeah.
This is like near the top of the list of the marketing
Yeah, because
plan.
they want people to get hands-on. They know that it's a big deal, and they know that their products show best when people can touch it and hold it and play it. So 100% they're doing this.
Right. And now I think they have a better infrastructure for like doing signups for something like this.
Yeah, like the Nintendo Live.
The Warp Pipe Pass. Right.
Yeah.
So they'll probably do something where people can sign up to go to that.
Right.
And they will kind of cherry pick people locally who are noteworthy.
Right.
Who they want to have do it.
They might do like a media and creator hour or day or something like that, and then in that same location open it up to the public and use that registration system. So I can see them doing that. Yeah, how they chose in the past is exactly that. They would sort of open it to the public that they want to reward, like, big Nintendo fans, and so they would work with the My Nintendo team to do a lot of that. And then the location, so they used to choose just like really big markets, like, your New Yorks and Los Angeles and what else? I guess DC could be kind
Chicago.
of Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, they went a lot of places.
They did, yeah.
It was
but they would choose like pretty big markets.
tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they try to cover like the majority of the U.S., try to cover, the coast in the middle and all that stuff. To get people an opportunity to go hands-on, and obviously it's good for them because they're able to like capture a lot of content from these events. I remember they gave us like a lot of reports, like what people are, it's almost like you're part of a big giant focus group, like what people are liking, not liking. We were getting a lot of information about that from these tours.
Yeah.
So.
Last question from Tusku. Hi, Kit and Krysta. Palworld is a colossal success now. What plan of action would you personally see as the most beneficial to ensure it stays a success and isn't just a flash in the pan? Would you take all this newfound capital and reinvest it into ensuring the game comes out as technically sound and robust as possible? Or would you invest more so on marketing and merchandising opportunities to try and make these pals into household names? I'm dying to hear your insights as experts. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit. Like, does this game have the staying power, or is it like a fun thing that we talked about on social media for the weekend? And I think we've both decided that yes, the gameplay is legit good, and it absolutely can have staying power. But I think now is the time to move away from marketing. Actually, I think they did a lot with it's Pokemon with guns, haha. While that is very like. It gets your attention. I think what's going to get people to stay and get you to keep coming back really is the gameplay. So, and that's what's keeping us from going back to the game as well. So I think now is the time to really like make sure the game is as best as it can be. It focus on like the other gameplay aspects that make this appealing. I would move away from sort of the little gimmicky marketing stuff that they've been doing and really focus on like refining that gameplay loop and making that like as perfect as possible.
Yeah, I think the road to full release is the focus.
Yeah.
And they have put out a bit of a roadmap.
They did.
So to their credit, they put that out, and they have some things for people to look forward to. I don't think they have they set a time frame for when the full release is supposed to happen? I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think I've seen like time frames or dates.
Yeah. But I would just work on and use that as an opportunity to show people, like, yes, we are improving this game that is currently in early access. Mm-hmm. We are going to be adding a lot along the way, so there are reasons for you to come back if for some reason you dropped off.
Yeah.
Over time, maybe you took a break to play Like a Dragon. Well, guess what? Come back, because now we've added this cool new feature that we didn't have before, and you want to try that, right?
Right.
So you keep rolling those things out, and then along the way you just polish it up as much as you can, and hopefully the turnaround is not unreasonably long to full game. Like I'm thinking like a year or less would be reasonable. If it's more than that, I think it's hard to hold people's attention. Mm-hmm. And then you can say like, hey, the game's properly out now, so here's another chance for people to come in. And I do wonder, to your point, like, do they try and come up with a new angle on it that's more than Pokemon with guns, that's based on what they know people like now?
Exactly.
Because I think
we need more substance.
I think
now.
you've hammered that opportunity as much as you can.
And you've gotten so much more out of it than like you ever dreamed possible.
Right.
And now
And you're also kind of on this like razor's edge of like, am I going to get in trouble for this?
right.
So maybe for the future you have like a phase 2. It's like, all right, now this is the message. It's a little bit different. It's maybe focusing on some different things, but they're things that we know people like.
Exactly. You have a lot of data now, what people are really excited about when they play this game. And again, the game is so legitimately good. You don't need some kind of like gimmicky marketing tagline. You can give people substance because you have the substance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that will keep people in and make it feel like more legitimate, because right now it does feel, I think for some people that haven't tried it or played it as much yet, it just feels like this little like, this novelty almost.
Right.
But I don't think
fad.
it doesn't have to be that at all.
Totally.
So, yeah.
All right.
That's what I would do. It's a free advice for you.
Free advice.
Pocket
Wow.
pair. Free
Amazing.
advice. Pocket pair.
Maybe change the nickname of your company. All right, those are the questions. Thank you to everybody there. It's time to shout out some of our great Patreon subscribers. We'll start with our superstars and go on to our One Up Club.
Let's do it. Aaron Hash.
Ben Eichhorn.
Maru Mayhem.
Eigenverse.
Kiss My Flapjack.
Mike Chin.
Roy Eschke.
Switching it up. _
Safazon.
VGM Life.
Link, the hero of Wint.
Angela Bycroft.
And her pig Molly.
Ah,
Thomas O'Rourke.
Calabuff.
Roberto Nieves.
Frederick Wolf Conradson.
Andrew Uhas.
Chili.
And Bruce Dash. We had our wonderful monthly meetup last night, and we played this game called Codenames. And in one of the clues, it was like, the clue was vegetable, and the person immediately picked ham, which cracked us up. And Angela shared a picture of Molly after the meeting, was like, Molly was not pleased by this answer. And I died. It was amazing. Anyways, here is our lovely One-Up Club, Aaron Burgundy,
Ale Alejandro.
Astrodev,
Awesome 46.
Bad Moon Horizon,
Benji B.
Bookem Dano,
Bookishly Fab.
Brad SF56,
Brooke Obscura.
Brovac Novak,
Cameron.
Jelly Squirrel,
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex,
Crimcap.
Roper 17,
Cynical Squid.
Dachshund,
Doinko.
Elite Peach,
Espars 50.
Fart Priest 69,
Fairbound.
Ferning and Just Forever,
Fox Deploy.
Garrett Hallfish,
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth,
G-Sun 101.
Heroic,
Iris Marin.
J Rando,
Jabroni Jones.
Jeffrey Hernandez,
Jeremy Lewis.
Jerry 92602,
Jesse Hernandez.
John Responte,
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette,
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joshua Clements,
Juji Fruit.
Justin Lemminger,
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan,
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo,
Christorati Kid.
Christopia Party With Me,
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer,
Linnell Stickman.
Lazy Cat for Coffee,
Lex.
Lit,
Macho Potato.
Mad Dog 5981,
Magnificent Easy G and Callie Marie.
Marky Man 64,
Mario Man 392.
Mecha Dragon 101,
Medallion.
Megan,
Wait.
wait.
We got this one. M1 IMAT.
Yes.
Yes.
Michael Cravens,
Mikey.
Mr. Ryan 07,
Motomania.
Mr. Andy Pong,
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSN Poke Gamer,
Mytran.
Nasir,
Nathan Burkhart.
Nick,
Ninja 11.
Panda Buns,
Penny.
Paul C. Pace,
Paul Gale Network.
Prime Factor,
Prince Charmless.
Raver,
Rain Tech.
Record Rumble,
Reed Schultz.
Ryeth 1,
Rob Osborne.
Rocks,
Rianetta.
Sharif Jackson,
Shinryu.
Slowbro,
Snazza.
Spicy Munchkin,
Steel Citron.
Tales of Link,
Tay 120 N64.
Tech Magic,
The Shark Among Men.
Thomas Alvarez,
Three Rivers.
Timmy V,
Topher Schmofer.
Totally Joe Ed,
Travis Torline.
Trijowie,
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tuscoop,
Tyler Geis.
Vezvez,
Video Game Stupid.
Viridian,
Virtual Bot.
Weeb Kingdom,
WG Grizzy.
What Up Khalil,
Wicked Davy.
Zudaverf,
Zelgarath.
Zapatty.
And Zroid.
I'm so glad we figured out the N1 IMAT. I'm so glad.
It definitely,
We were not close
it definitely required an exclamation.
Yeah.
I mean, we came up with a lot of other good ideas. Money Matt.
I think Money Matt
I was sure that it was
Could
Money
be
Matt.
your name. Do you want to be Money Matt instead?
Money? Money?
Money?
It's like those license plates. We're like, I think I know what this person's trying to say.
All right. Don't forget to subscribe to us at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta to keep all of this going. Thank you very much.
And if you're watching on video, you can go ahead and subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you're listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and leave a written review if you please.
And we're on the socials. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads.
Indeed.
All right. That's all. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.